was about to happen, though Naomi didn't know that yet. She stood among her colleagues, hands trembling as Dr. Patterson made the announcement she'd been waiting 7 years to hear. The FDA has approved your protocol for Phase 1 clinical trials. Naomi, your cancer treatment research is going to save lives. The room erupted in applause. Naomi felt tears streaming down her face, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst through her chest. 7 years of late nights, failed experiments, grant proposals, and unwavering dedication had finally paid off. This was the moment she'd dreamed about since graduate school, the reason she'd pushed through every obstacle, every doubt. Her first thought was Trevor. Her husband of 9 years, her college sweetheart, the man who'd supposedly supported her through every challenging moment of her career. He was on a business trip in Chicago, but she had to tell him immediately. This news was too big, too important to wait even one more hour. She stepped into the hallway, pulling out her phone with shaking fingers. The hallway was quieter, but she could still hear celebration continuing behind her. She dialed Trevor's number, practically bouncing on her toes as it rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Then a woman's voice answered. Hello. Naomi froze. The voice was sultry, amused, definitely not a hotel operator or conference colleague. I'm calling for Trevor Richardson, Naomi said, confusion flooding through her. I think I have the wrong number. No, you have the right number, the woman said, and Naomi heard something that made her blood run cold. Laughter. Not polite laughter, but mocking, cruel laughter. Trevor's right here. He's just busy. Who is this? Naomi demanded, her celebration mood evaporating like water on hot pavement. Where's my husband? Your husband? More laughter. Oh honey. Trevor's been mine for the last 2 years. He's in the shower right now, but I can tell him his roommate called. Roommate? Naomi's voice came out strangled. I'm his wife. Wife? The woman repeated, her tone dripping with contempt. Yeah, he mentioned you sometimes. Said you're married to your job, never home, basically just a business arrangement at this point. Don't worry though, I've been keeping him very satisfied. He says I actually pay attention to him, unlike some people who care more about their precious research than their marriage. Naomi's knees felt weak. She leaned against the wall, her free hand pressed against the cool surface to steady herself. This couldn't be happening. Not today. Not on the best day of her professional life. You're lying, Naomi whispered, but even as she said it, pieces began falling into place in her mind. Trevor's increased business trips. His late nights at the gym. The way he'd stopped asking about her research 6 months ago. The distance she'd attributed to work stress. Am I? The woman said. Check your credit card statement from last month. The charges from the Ritz-Carlton? That was us. The jewelry from Tiffany's? What? All of it. He's been funding our relationship with your joint accounts, and you were too busy in your lab to even notice. Put Trevor on the phone right now, Naomi demanded, her voice shaking with rage and disbelief. No, the woman said simply. He's my man now, not yours. He gave me his phone because he knew it might be you calling with some boring work news, and he didn't want to be bothered. That should tell you everything you need to know about where his priorities are. Do yourself a favor and get a good lawyer. Trevor's done pretending to care about your marriage. The line went dead. Naomi stood in that hospital hallway, phone clutched in her hand as her world collapsed around her. Behind her, she could hear her colleagues still celebrating, probably wondering where she'd gone. In front of her, the white walls seemed to close in, making it hard to breathe. Her hands moved automatically, opening her banking app. She navigated to their joint checking account with trembling fingers. The balance made her gasp. They'd had over $45,000 in that account last month, money she'd been saving for their planned home renovation. Now it showed $3,200. With growing horror, she checked their joint savings. The account that had held her $80,000 inheritance from her grandmother showed a balance of $12,000. She clicked on the transaction history and felt bile rise in her throat. Transfers to an account she didn't recognize. Cash withdrawals in Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, cities where Trevor had supposedly been on business trips. The biggest professional moment of her life, and she couldn't even feel it anymore. The joy had been completely stolen, replaced by a crushing weight of betrayal that made it hard to stand upright. Dr. Patterson appeared in the hallway, concern crossing his face when he saw her expression. Naomi? Are you all right? You look pale. I'm fine, she lied automatically, shoving her phone into her pocket. Just overwhelmed. This is a lot to process. Come back inside. We're opening champagne, the non-alcoholic kind, since we're still on the clock. He smiled warmly. Your husband must be so proud. Did you reach him? Naomi felt something break inside her chest, but she forced a smile onto her face. Yeah. He's thrilled. She followed Dr. Patterson back into the lab, accepting congratulations from colleagues who had no idea her entire life had just shattered. Someone handed her a plastic cup of sparkling cider. She raised it when they made a toast to her success, the liquid tasting like ash in her mouth. All around her, people celebrated her achievement. Inside, Naomi was already calculating. That woman had mentioned 2 years. 2 years of lies, of betrayal, of theft. 2 years while Naomi had worked herself exhausted, believing she was building a future with a man who loved and supported her. She looked at her phone again at Trevor's contact photo smiling back at her. That picture had been taken on their anniversary last year. She remembered that day she'd taken the afternoon off from the lab, something she rarely did, to celebrate with him. He'd seemed distant even then, checking his phone constantly. She'd attributed it to work stress. Now she knew the truth. He'd been texting another woman. Probably making plans to see her. Possibly laughing at how gullible his wife was. The celebration continued around her, but Naomi was no longer present in any meaningful way. Her mind raced through memories, re-examining every moment of the last 2 years through this new horrible lens. Every late night she'd spent at the lab while Trevor claimed to be at the gym or working late himself. Every business trip she'd believed without question. Every time he'd encouraged her to stay late at work, saying he understood her dedication. He'd been clearing the way to cheat on her. Every supportive word had been a lie designed to give him freedom to betray her. As her colleagues finally began dispersing back to their workstations, Naomi remained standing in place, cup still in hand. She looked at the research data on her computer screen, 7 years of work culminating in today's approval. This achievement was supposed to be the beginning of everything she'd worked for. Instead, it felt like the end of everything she'd believed about her life. Her phone buzzed. A text from Trevor. Sorry I missed your call. In meetings all day. Call you tonight. The casualness of it, the easy lie, made rage surge through her so intensely she had to grip the edge of her desk. He had no idea that woman had answered. He was going to come home, kiss her cheek, ask about her day with that same false warmth he'd been performing for 2 years. Naomi deleted the text without responding. She opened a new browser window on her computer and typed, "Best divorce attorneys in Philadelphia." If Trevor thought she was too focused on her career to notice his betrayal, he was about to learn exactly how focused she could be when properly motivated. She just spent 7 years methodically building a groundbreaking cancer treatment through careful research, patience, and strategic planning. She would apply those same skills to destroying the life of the man who'd betrayed her. Naomi left work early that day, something she never did. Her colleagues assumed she was celebrating her achievement, but as she drove home through afternoon traffic, her hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. The radio played cheerful pop music that felt like mockery. She turned it off, driving in silence. Their house in the suburbs looked perfect from the outside, manicured lawn, fresh paint, flower beds she'd planted last spring. Everything a successful couple should have. The sight of it made her stomach turn. How many times had Trevor brought that woman here when Naomi was working late? She parked in the driveway and sat for a moment, staring at the front door. Once she walked through it and started looking for proof, there would be no going back. Some part of her still wanted to believe this was a misunderstanding, that the woman on the phone was lying or confused. But she knew the truth. She'd heard it in the woman's confident mockery, seen it in the bank account balances. Naomi unlocked the door and stepped into her own home, which suddenly felt like foreign territory. She stood in the entryway looking at family photos on the wall, her and Trevor on their wedding day at the Grand Canyon at her graduate school graduation. All lies now. Just pictures of a woman who hadn't known her husband was stealing from her and sleeping with someone else. She started in their bedroom. Trevor's side of the walk-in closet first. She pulled down boxes from the top shelf, dumping contents onto the floor. Old tax documents, college memorabilia, nothing useful. She checked jacket pockets, finding receipts for restaurants she'd never been to. One dated 3 weeks ago. Dinner for 2 at an expensive steakhouse downtown, total bill $347. He told her he was eating at the hotel that night during a supposed business trip. The gym bag. Trevor had 2, one he used regularly, one that sat in the back of the closet. Naomi pulled out the unused one and unzipped every compartment. In a small interior pocket, hidden beneath the lining, she found it. A phone. Not Trevor's iPhone with the blue case that he carried everywhere. This was an Android older model, black. A burner phone. Naomi's hands shook as she powered it on. No password protection arrogant. The screen loaded to show 43 unread text messages, all from a contact saved as S. She opened the message thread and immediately wished she hadn't. The messages went back 2 years exactly as the woman on the phone had claimed. Thousands of messages between Trevor and someone named Simone. Intimate photos Naomi couldn't bear to look at for more than a second. Plans to meet at hotels. Complaints about Naomi herself. Wife working late again, want to come over? Can't believe she fell for the Chicago excuse again. We have all weekend. Told her I'm at the gym. Be there in 20. Message after message, detailing every lie, every betrayal. And worse plans for the future. One message from 3 months ago made Naomi's blood run cold. Just need to wait a bit longer until her research project wraps up and she gets that patent money. Then we can leave and live however we want. She'll be too devastated to fight the divorce properly. We'll get at least half of everything. So it wasn't just an affair. It was a calculated plan to use her, to wait until her work paid off, then take everything and abandon her. Naomi carefully photographed every message, every photo, every piece of evidence. Her training as a researcher kicked in: document everything, preserve the evidence, maintain the chain of custody. She'd spent years gathering data. This was just a different type of experiment. Next she went to Trevor's home office. His laptop sat on the desk. He always left it open, assuming she'd never snoop. She'd never had reason to before. She opened his email. The personal Gmail account she knew about contained nothing incriminating. But when she checked his browser history, she found he regularly logged into another email address, trick2847@gmail.com. She typed it into the login screen. His password manager auto-filled the credentials. Jackpot. This email account contained everything. Hotel reservations under fake names. Romantic messages to Simone. But most damning, correspondence with a real estate agent about a condo he'd been looking to purchase. The price was $380,000, and the emails discussed how he'd soon have enough for a significant down payment. Her money, her inheritance, her salary, all being used to plan a future with another woman. Naomi downloaded every email, every attachment, every piece of correspondence. She created a secure folder on her own laptop and transferred everything there, then backed it up to 3 different cloud services. Then she found the bank statements. Trevor had been methodical about covering his tracks with their joint accounts, but he'd been careless with his secret account, probably because he never imagined she'd find it. The statements showed regular transfers from their joint savings, often timed to when Naomi was traveling for conferences. He'd transfer $5,000 or $10,000, then spend it on hotels, restaurants, shopping, and direct transfers to an account belonging to Simone Patterson. Patterson. The same last name as her department head at work. Naomi's mind raced. Could Simone be related to Dr. Patterson? No, that was impossible. Patterson was a common name. Just a coincidence. She kept searching, finding credit card statements for cards she'd never seen. All in Trevor's name but using their joint accounts to pay them off. The charges painted a picture of lavish spending: jewelry, expensive dinners, weekend trips, shopping sprees. She found a charge for $4,800 at a jewelry store dated last month. Trevor's explanation for that withdrawal had been a supposed car repair. There were hotel charges in their own city. Multiple times per month, Trevor had been checking into hotels less than 5 miles from their home, bringing Simone there while telling Naomi he was at the gym or working late at his office. The gym membership statements showed the truth: he rarely went. His story about training for a marathon last year had been completely fabricated. He'd been spending those hours with Simone. Naomi worked methodically through the afternoon, building her case file. Every document photographed and saved. Every email downloaded. Every text message preserved. By the time she finished, she had a comprehensive record of 2 years of systematic deception and financial fraud. Her phone rang. Trevor. Hey babe. His voice sounded cheerful, casual. Sorry I couldn't talk earlier. Meetings ran long. How was your day? Naomi looked at the evidence spread across the office desk. The burner phone, the printed emails, the bank statements. She thought about that woman's mocking voice on the phone. She thought about 2 years of lies. My day was amazing, she said, keeping her voice light and normal. I got incredible news at work. We should celebrate when you get home. That's great. I knew you'd figure out whatever you were working on. You're so dedicated to that research. I'm proud of you. The lies came so easily to him. He sounded genuine, loving even. If she didn't know the truth, she'd believe every word. When will you be home? She asked. Not until Thursday evening. This Chicago project is more complicated than expected. I might need to extend the trip through Friday. That's fine, Naomi said softly. Take all the time you need. More time for her to prepare. More time for him to believe his wife was still clueless. You sound weird, Trevor said, a note of suspicion entering his voice. Everything okay? Just tired. Long day at the lab. I'll let you get back to your meetings. Love you, babe. The words felt like poison. Sure, Naomi said and ended the call. She carefully returned everything to where she'd found it, except the evidence she'd documented. The burner phone went back into the gym bag, positioned exactly as she'd found it. The laptop returned to its previous screen. Everything appeared untouched. But Naomi had changed. The woman who'd walked into this house full of shock and hurt had been replaced by someone else. Someone calculating, strategic, and absolutely determined to make Trevor regret every single lie he'd ever told her. She pulled up her contacts and found a name she hadn't called in almost a year, Andrea Collins. They'd been roommates in college, stayed friends through graduate school. Andrea had gone to law school and was now a divorce attorney at a major firm in Philadelphia. Naomi. Andrea's warm voice came through the phone. I was just thinking about you. It's been forever. How are you? I need a lawyer, Naomi said. My husband's been cheating on me for 2 years and stealing money from our accounts. I have extensive documentation and I want to destroy him legally. Can you help? There was a brief pause. Then Andrea's voice came back, no longer warm and social but sharp and professional. Don't touch anything else. Don't confront him. Don't do anything until we meet. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning at 8? Yes. Good. Bring every piece of evidence you have. And Naomi? Based on what you just said, we're not just talking divorce. This sounds like fraud, possibly embezzlement depending on the account structures. He's going to lose a lot more than his marriage. After they hung up, Naomi sat in Trevor's office chair, surrounded by evidence of his betrayal. The sun was setting outside, casting long shadows through the window. She should feel devastated, destroyed by the revelation that her husband had been systematically using and betraying her. Instead, she felt something cold and sharp crystallizing in her chest. Not quite rage anymore. Something more focused. Trevor had made a crucial mistake. He'd assumed her dedication to her research meant she wasn't paying attention to their life together. He'd mistaken her trust for stupidity, her love for blindness. He was about to learn that the same methodical intelligence that had just earned FDA approval for a groundbreaking cancer treatment could be applied to completely dismantling a cheating husband's life. Naomi stood up, closed the office door behind her, and went to pack an overnight bag. She wouldn't be staying in this house tonight or any night until the locks were changed and Trevor's name was off the deed. But she'd be back. This house was hers, bought primarily with her income. The life they'd built was hers, funded by her career while he'd contributed far less. Everything he thought he was going to take from her? She'd take it back plus everything he had. The woman on the phone had said Naomi cared more about her research than her marriage. She was right. But not because Naomi had neglected Trevor. Because her research had taught her patience, strategy, and how to systematically break down complex problems into manageable steps until you achieved the desired outcome. Trevor was about to become her next research project. And unlike cancer, which she was learning to defeat, Trevor would be much easier to destroy. Andrea's law office occupied the 20th floor of a glass tower in downtown Philadelphia. Naomi arrived 15 minutes early, carrying a laptop bag filled with printed documentation and backed-up files. She'd barely slept at the hotel last night, instead spending hours organizing her evidence into categories: financial fraud, infidelity documentation, timeline of deception, asset inventory. The receptionist led her to a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Andrea walked in moments later, and Naomi barely recognized her college friend. Gone was the casual law student who'd lived on pizza and coffee. This woman wore a perfectly tailored suit, her hair in a professional twist, radiating confidence and competence. Naomi, Andrea said, her expression serious as she closed the door. Before we start, I need to know, have you confronted Trevor about any of this? No. I found everything yesterday afternoon. He doesn't know I know. Good. Andrea sat down, pulling out a legal pad. That's crucial. The element of surprise is our biggest advantage. Now show me what you have. For the next 2 hours, Naomi walked Andrea through everything. The phone call that started it all. The burner phone messages. The secret email account. The bank statements showing systematic theft from their joint accounts. The plans to wait for her patent money before divorcing her. Andrea's expression grew darker as she reviewed each piece of evidence. She made notes, asked clarifying questions, and occasionally let out low whistles of disbelief. "This is worse than most cases I see," Andrea finally said. "He's not just cheating. He's committed wire fraud, identity theft if he used your credentials for any account access, and possibly embezzlement depending on how your accounts are structured. The fact that he used your inheritance money makes this even more serious in Pennsylvania law." "Can we get it back?" Naomi asked. "The money he stole? All of it plus damages?" Pennsylvania is an equitable distribution state, which means marital property gets divided fairly but not necessarily equally. But when one spouse has committed fraud and dissipated marital assets, judges get very unfavorable toward that person. Andrea pulled up a document on her laptop. "Walk me through your financial situation. What assets do you have individually versus jointly?" They spent another hour documenting everything. The house was in both names but had been purchased primarily with Naomi's income and down payment. 3 cars, Naomi's sedan registered in her name, Trevor's truck in his name, and a third vehicle they rarely used that was joint. Retirement accounts, Naomi's 401k from her employer, Trevor's IRA from his sales job. Joint savings accounts now depleted. Joint checking. "What about your research patent?" Andrea asked. "If that generates royalties, that could be considered marital property depending on when the work was done. I started the research 4 years ago, but the majority of the work has been in the last 2 years, Naomi said. While Trevor was actively cheating and stealing from me. That helps. We can argue that he contributed nothing to the achievement and actively undermined the marriage during the crucial development period." Andrea made more notes. "What about his income versus yours? I make $140,000 as a senior research scientist. Trevor makes about $85,000 in medical device sales, but his income has been inconsistent the last 2 years. He claimed it was market conditions, but now I wonder if he was less focused on work because he was busy with Simone." Andrea nodded. "Here's what we're going to do. First, you need to secure your assets immediately. Today. This morning, you're going to open new bank accounts in your name only at a different bank from where your joint accounts are held. Transfer your next paycheck there. Going forward, not 1 cent of your money goes into joint accounts. Won't that alert him something's wrong? Not if he's not paying attention, and based on his behavior he's not. He thinks you're oblivious. We use that against him." Andrea pulled up a checklist on her laptop. "Second, we need to document everything in your home. Photos of all assets, especially anything he might try to hide or sell. I assume he has no idea you've documented his affair?" "None. I put everything back exactly as I found it." "Perfect. The burner phone is crucial evidence. At some point before we serve him, we'll need to seize that phone legally. I'll work with our investigator on the proper way to do that." Andrea looked up from her notes. "Third, we need to know more about Simone. Full name, employment, everything. The more we know about her, the better we can build the case." Naomi pulled up the photos she'd taken of the phone messages. Simone Patterson. The messages show she lives at the Riverside luxury apartments downtown. Trevor's been paying her rent, $2,800 per month according to the bank statements. Andrea typed the name into her computer, then stopped. Her expression changed. "Wait. Simone Patterson. About 30 years old, works in pharmaceutical sales. I don't know what she does for work. Why?" Andrea turned her laptop screen toward Naomi. It showed a LinkedIn profile for Simone Patterson, account manager at MedTech Solutions, the same company where Trevor worked. The profile photo showed an attractive woman with highlighted hair and a bright smile. She looked so normal, so ordinary. Not like someone who'd been systematically helping destroy someone's marriage for 2 years. But what made Naomi's breath catch was the employment history. 3 years ago, Simone had worked at a different company, Pharmacare Industries. The same parent company that owned the research institute where Naomi worked. "She used to work at my company," Naomi said slowly. "Or a subsidiary of it." Andrea's eyes narrowed. "That's not a coincidence. How did Trevor meet her?" The pieces fell into place in Naomi's mind. 3 years ago, Trevor had started his current job at MedTech Solutions. He'd met Simone there, or possibly she'd followed him there from the pharmaceutical industry. Either way, they'd known each other longer than the 2-year affair timeline. "This gets worse," Naomi said. "The woman who answered Trevor's phone yesterday said he fired her as his secretary 3 years ago but actually set her up in an apartment. But she's not his secretary, she works in sales at his company." Andrea made more notes. "So the relationship goes back further than 2 years?" and there's a history of him helping her professionally or financially. That's good for us. Shows a pattern of using marital funds to support his mistress over an extended period. They worked for another hour building out the strategy. Andrea would file for divorce immediately, using the fraud evidence to request an emergency hearing for exclusive use of the marital home and freezing of all joint assets. They'd request full forensic accounting of all finances going back 3 years. They'd pursue criminal charges for the financial fraud separately from the divorce. "I need to warn you," Andrea said as they wrapped up. "This is going to get ugly. Trevor will be served at his workplace. He'll be angry. He might try to intimidate you, threaten you, make promises to reconcile. You need to be prepared for that." "He already had his chance to be honest," Naomi said coldly. "He chose to let his mistress answer my phone call when I was trying to share the biggest achievement of my career. That told me everything I need to know about who he is." "Good. Keep that anger. It'll help you get through what's coming." Andrea stood up, extending her hand. "We're going to destroy him, Naomi. Legally, financially, and professionally. By the time we're done, he's going to regret ever betraying you." Naomi shook her hand. "How long will this take?" "Depends on how much he fights. If he's smart, he'll settle quickly once he sees our evidence. If he's stupid and tries to drag it out, we go to trial and let a judge hear about every hotel room, every stolen dollar, every lie. Either way, you win." After leaving Andrea's office, Naomi went directly to a new bank and opened checking and savings accounts in her name only. She arranged for her paycheck direct deposit to be changed effective immediately. She withdrew $5,000 in cash from one of the joint accounts, just in case she needed quick access to money if Trevor tried to freeze their accounts in retaliation. Then she went to her workplace and requested an emergency meeting with HR and Dr. Patterson. "Is everything all right?" Dr. Patterson asked when she entered his office with the HR director. "You seemed distracted yesterday after the announcement." "I need to report a potential security concern," Naomi said carefully. "I've learned that someone with a connection to my personal life used to work for our parent company and may have had access to proprietary research information. I want to ensure there's no conflict of interest or data breach." She didn't mention Trevor or the affair, but she gave them Simone's name and employment history, framing it as a routine security check given her own research's importance. Dr. Patterson made notes, promising to look into it. If Simone had ever accessed or shared any of Naomi's research, which seemed unlikely but possible given her pharmaceutical background, there could be additional legal consequences. Naomi spent the rest of the day at work acting completely normal. Colleagues congratulated her again on the FDA approval. She smiled, thanked them, participated in discussions about the next phase of clinical trials. No one suspected that underneath her professional exterior, she was systematically planning the destruction of her husband's life. That evening, she checked into a different hotel under her own name, paying cash. Trevor called at 8 p.m., his usual check-in time. "Hey babe, how was your day?" "Good. Busy. Lots of meetings about the clinical trial logistics." "All true technically. How's Chicago?" "Exhausting. These clients are demanding. I'll be so glad to get home tomorrow night." More lies. The credit card statement showed he'd checked into a luxury hotel in downtown Philadelphia yesterday, not Chicago. He was probably with Simone right now, calling from the bathroom while she waited in bed. "I can't wait to see you," Naomi said, injecting false warmth into her voice. "We should do something special this weekend. Celebrate my news properly." "Absolutely. I'll take you to that restaurant you like." "Friday night?" "Perfect." He'd never make it to Friday dinner with her. By Friday he'd be served with divorce papers frozen out of their accounts, and facing a very angry attorney. After they hung up, Naomi reviewed the timeline with Andrea via email. Papers would be filed tomorrow morning. Trevor would be served at his office tomorrow afternoon. Andrea was also arranging a restraining order preventing him from accessing their joint accounts or the marital home until the emergency hearing. Naomi attached one final document to her email, the photos of text messages between Trevor and Simone discussing how they'd clean out the accounts and leave that research nerd with nothing. Andrea's response came within minutes. "This seals it. Judge will be extremely hostile to him. Get ready, tomorrow changes everything." Naomi sat in her hotel room, looking out over the city lights. 24 hours ago, she'd been celebrating the biggest professional achievement of her life, blissfully unaware her husband was betraying her. Now she was 24 hours away from watching his entire world implode. She felt no guilt, no hesitation. Trevor had made his choices. He'd chosen lies over honesty. He'd chosen theft over respect. He'd chosen to let his mistress mock Naomi on what should have been one of the best days of her life. Naomi had spent 7 years patiently researching, testing, and refining a treatment that could save lives. She'd learned that success came from careful planning, strategic execution, and unwavering commitment to the goal. She'd apply those same principles to making sure Trevor Richardson learned the most expensive lesson of his life. Underestimating his wife was the biggest mistake he'd ever made. Tomorrow the real work began. Naomi spent Wednesday morning at the Research Institute, attending meetings about clinical trial protocols while simultaneously coordinating with Andrea via text message. To her colleagues, she appeared focused and professional. Inside, her mind tracked multiple timelines: when the divorce papers would be filed, 10 a.m., when the process server would arrive at Trevor's office between 2 to 4 p.m., when the bank would receive notice to freeze the joint accounts by end of business day. At 10:47 a.m., Andrea texted, "Papers filed. Emergency hearing scheduled for Monday 9 a.m. Process server en route to his office. How are you holding up?" Naomi typed back, "Fine. Ready for this to be done." But Andrea had also suggested something else: hiring a private investigator to document everything they might have missed. At 11 a.m., Naomi met with the investigator, James Harrison, no relation to her attorney, at a coffee shop 3 blocks from her work. Harrison was in his 50s, gray-haired and unassuming. Exactly the kind of person who could blend into any environment. "Mrs. Richardson," he said, shaking her hand. "Andrea filled me in on the basics. I've already started preliminary work based on the information you provided. What I've found in just 18 hours is concerning." He opened his laptop, angling it so only Naomi could see the screen. "This is Simone Patterson's apartment building. Nice place, $2,800 per month rent like you discovered. But here's what's interesting. The lease isn't in her name. It's under an LLC called Richmond Properties. Wanna guess who owns Richmond Properties?" "Trevor," Naomi said flatly. "Correct. He established the LLC 3 years ago. The apartment lease, the utility bills, even her car payment, all run through this LLC. Which means he's been using it to hide assets and expenses from you for at least 3 years, possibly longer." 3 years. Naomi felt the number sink in. Not 2 years like the messages indicated. 3 years of systematic deception and financial manipulation. Harrison pulled up more documents. "The LLC has a business bank account. I've filed requests for those records through legal channels, but based on preliminary data, there have been regular transfers from your joint accounts into the LLC account, then out to various expenses. Conservative estimate? He's funneled over $200,000 of marital funds through this company." $200,000. Naomi's hands clenched around her coffee cup. "There's more," Harrison continued. "Simone Patterson didn't just used to work in pharmaceuticals. She was specifically a sales representative for Pharmacare Industries' oncology division 3 years ago. She called on research institutes, including yours." The implications hit Naomi like ice water. "She knew about my research." "Possibly. I'm still confirming, but it's likely she met Trevor through work connections and knew exactly who you were and what you were working on. The timeline suggests their relationship began right around when your cancer treatment research started showing serious promise." "You're saying this was planned from the beginning? That she targeted Trevor because of my work?" "I'm saying it's a possibility we need to investigate. If she had access to confidential information about your research and its commercial potential, and then began a relationship with your husband right as that research was becoming valuable." Harrison let the sentence hang. Naomi sat back in her chair, the coffee shop noise fading into background static. She'd thought Trevor was simply a cheating husband. Now Harrison was suggesting something far more calculated, that Simone might have deliberately pursued Trevor because she knew about Naomi's groundbreaking research and its future financial value. "Can you prove it?" Naomi asked. "I'm working on it. I've requested her employment records, visitor logs from your institute, any documentation of her sales calls. If she accessed information about your research or communicated with Trevor about it before their affair officially started, we'll find it." Harrison pulled up more photos on his laptop. Simone and Trevor at restaurants. Simone and Trevor entering hotels. Simone and Trevor at what looked like a weekend trip to the beach. The photos were time-stamped over the past 6 months. "The affair has been ongoing and active," Harrison said. "They're not careful. They go to public places, use social media, act like a couple. Your husband posted a photo from a casino in Atlantic City 4 months ago, claimed it was a guy's weekend. I have photos of Simone at the same casino, same weekend, same hotel. Every revelation felt like another layer of betrayal peeling back. Naomi had known about the affair for 2 days now, but each new detail made it worse. What about her? Naomi asked. Simone. What's her situation? Harrison pulled up a background report. Simone Patterson, age 29. Originally from Tennessee. Moved to Philadelphia 6 years ago. Works at MedTech Solutions and Pharmaceutical Sales. That's how she and Trevor currently work together, though he's her supervisor, which creates its own HR nightmare for their company. No criminal record. No previous marriages. Parents deceased. One younger sister still in Tennessee. Does she know he's married? Oh, she absolutely knows. The text messages you found make that clear. But here's what's interesting. About 8 months ago, she started posting on social media about being in a relationship, but never tags Trevor or posts photos of him. She talks about her man and their future plans, but keeps his identity hidden. Because he's married, Naomi said. She knows people would judge her. Probably. But it also suggests she's not as confident in the relationship as she acts in those text messages. If she really believed Trevor was going to leave you for her, why hide it? Why not post couple photos, tag him, act like any normal girlfriend? Was a good question. Despite the messages where Simone seemed confident Trevor would divorce Naomi, her actual behavior suggested uncertainty. There's one more thing you need to know, Harrison said, his expression growing more serious. This morning, I observed Simone meeting with someone at a coffee shop downtown. A lawyer. I managed to get close enough to hear parts of the conversation. She's worried. About what? About Trevor's financial situation. Apparently he's been promising to leave you for months, but keeps delaying. She's concerned he's been using her and doesn't actually intend to follow through. She asked the lawyer about her options if Trevor has been making false promises. Naomi almost laughed. The mistress was worried about being deceived by the married man she'd been sleeping with for years. The irony was sharp enough to cut. So she's not going to stand by him when this all blows up? Naomi asked. I doubt it. Women like Simone usually bail when the situation gets legally complicated. She's not going to stick around if Trevor can't provide the lifestyle she's been enjoying. Harrison closed his laptop. I'll continue surveillance and documentation. The process server should be at Trevor's office within the next few hours. Do you want me to be there to observe his reaction? Yes, Naomi said immediately. I want to know exactly how he responds. They parted ways and Naomi returned to work. She had a meeting with the clinical trial coordinator at 2 p.m. to discuss patient recruitment protocols. She forced herself to focus, to think about the cancer patients whose lives her research could save rather than the disaster of her personal life. But at 2:47 p.m., her phone buzzed with a text from Harrison. Server just arrived at his office building. Heading up now. Naomi excused herself from the meeting, claiming she needed to take an important call. She walked to the empty stairwell and waited, phone in hand. At 3:02 p.m., Harrison sent a photo. It showed Trevor standing in what looked like a conference room, holding papers, his face twisted in shock and rage. The process server stood nearby, clearly having just delivered the divorce petition. Harrison's text followed. He screamed. Actual screaming. Called you several names I won't repeat. His colleagues heard everything. Currently trying to call you. Don't answer. As if on cue, Naomi's phone began ringing. Trevor. She let it go to voicemail. Immediately he called again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. A text. Call me right now. Another? What the hell is this? You filed for divorce? Another? We need to talk. This is insane. Call me immediately. Naomi blocked his number and returned to her meeting. The clinical trial coordinator gave her a curious look but didn't ask questions. For the rest of the afternoon, Naomi received texts from unknown numbers, Trevor using other people's phones, desperate to reach her. She blocked each one. At 4:30 p.m. Andrea called. He showed up at my office. Security escorted him out. He's threatening to contest everything, saying you're being unreasonable. I told him that if he wants to contest, we'll see him in court with all the evidence of fraud and adultery. He left looking like he might throw up. Good, Naomi said. At 5 p.m. Harrison sent another update. He went to the apartment building where Simone lives. Stayed for 45 minutes. When he left, he was carrying a suitcase. Looks like she kicked him out. He then went to a hotel downtown. Currently checked in there. So Simone had abandoned him already. One day of legal pressure and she'd thrown him out. Whatever they'd had wasn't strong enough to survive actual consequences. Naomi drove to the house, her house, for the first time since discovering the affair. Andrea had arranged for a locksmith to meet her there. While he changed all the locks, Naomi walked through the rooms, seeing everything differently now. The bed where Trevor had slept beside her while texting Simone. The kitchen where he'd eaten breakfast and lied about his plans for the day. The living room where they'd watched TV together, him checking his burner phone whenever she left the room. Every space contaminated by deception. The locksmith finished and handed her new keys. "You want me to install a security camera at the front door?" he asked. "In case your ex tries anything?" "Yes," Naomi said. "And one at the back door too." Within an hour she had camera coverage of all entrances, linked to an app on her phone. If Trevor tried to enter the house, she'd know immediately. At 7 p.m. a call came from an unknown number. Against her better judgment, Naomi answered. "You vindictive witch," was Simone. Her voice had none of the mocking confidence from 2 days ago. Now she sounded angry and desperate. "You couldn't just let him go. You had to destroy everything." "You helped him steal $200,000 from me," Naomi said calmly. "That's not ending a marriage. That's fraud. He loves me. We were building a life together, and you were too busy with your stupid research to even notice. He deserves happiness. Then he should have divorced me honestly instead of stealing and lying." Naomi kept her voice level. "Don't call me again." "This isn't over," Simone hissed. "Trevor has rights. He'll fight this. We'll..." Naomi hung up and blocked the number. Her phone immediately rang again. Different unknown number. She answered. "Please." Trevor's voice, and he was crying. "Please, Naomi. Let's talk about this. We can work it out. I made mistakes, but we can fix this." "No," Naomi said simply. "I love you. I never stopped loving you. It was just a mistake, just something that happened. Please don't do this. Don't destroy our marriage over one mistake." "One mistake? Trevor, you've been lying to me for 3 years. You created an LLC to hide assets. You stole my inheritance money. You let your mistress answer my phone when I called to share the biggest achievement of my life. That's not one mistake. That's 3 years of deliberate betrayal. I can explain all of it. Just give me a chance. Please. Don't throw away 9 years of marriage." "You already threw it away," Naomi said. "See you in court Monday." She hung up and turned off her phone entirely. The house felt empty and quiet. Naomi made herself dinner, simple pasta with vegetables, and ate it alone at the kitchen table. This was her life now. Single. Betrayed. Fighting for everything she'd thought was secure. But she wasn't broken. She wasn't devastated and unable to function like Trevor had expected. She was angry, yes. Hurt, absolutely. But more than anything, she was determined. Tomorrow, her story would begin circulating, colleagues would hear, mutual friends would find out, her family would need to be told. The humiliation of being the wife who'd been cheated on for years without knowing would be public. But Trevor's story would circulate too. The husband who'd stolen from his wife, created fake companies to hide assets, and let his mistress mock her on what should have been a celebration day. Between those two stories, Naomi knew which person people would sympathize with. She cleaned up the dishes, locked all the doors, and went upstairs to the guest bedroom. She wasn't ready to sleep in the bed she'd shared with Trevor, might never be ready for that. Eventually she'd replace it, redecorate the entire room, erase every trace of him from her home. But tonight she just needed to rest. Monday morning's emergency hearing would be her first real confrontation with Trevor face to face. She needed to be sharp, calm, and unshakable. The cancer cells she studied under microscopes never gave up easily. They adapted, evolved, tried every strategy to survive. But Naomi had spent 7 years learning how to systematically destroy them anyway. Trevor was about to learn that the same methodical determination applied to her personal life would be even more devastating than he'd imagined. The emergency hearing was scheduled for Monday at 9 a.m., which gave Naomi the weekend to prepare. But Friday brought unexpected developments that accelerated everything. At 8 a.m., Naomi received a call from her bank. "Ms. Richardson, this is Mark Chin from Fraud Prevention. We've detected unusual activity on one of your joint accounts. Someone attempted to transfer the entire balance, approximately $12,000, to an external account at 6:47 this morning. The transaction was flagged because it exceeded normal activity patterns. Did you authorize this transfer?" "No," Naomi said immediately. "That account should have been frozen by court order yesterday. The freeze was applied at 5 p.m. yesterday. This transfer attempt was made before business hours through online banking. It was declined due to the freeze, but I wanted to alert you that someone with access credentials tried to empty the account. Trevor. Of course. He'd woken up early and tried to drain their remaining joint funds before the hearing. Thank you for catching it, Naomi said. That account is involved in divorce proceedings. The person who attempted that transfer is my husband, and he's being investigated for financial fraud. Noted. I'll document this attempt. It may be useful for your legal case. After hanging up, Naomi immediately forwarded the information to Andrea, who responded within minutes. Perfect. Shows ongoing intent to defraud you. This strengthens our case significantly. Judge will not be happy. At 10 a.m., Naomi's HR director called her into an urgent meeting. Dr. Patterson was there too, both looking concerned. Naomi, the HR director began carefully, we completed the security review you requested regarding Simone Patterson. What we found is troubling. 3 years ago, when she worked for Pharmacare Sales Division, she made multiple visits to this institute. Her visitor logs show she specifically requested meetings with researchers in the oncology department. Naomi felt her stomach tighten. Did she ever meet with me? No direct meetings logged. But she did attend a symposium 3 years ago where you presented preliminary findings on your cancer treatment research. Your presentation included projections about the treatment's potential commercial value if development continued successfully. So Simone had known. She'd known about Naomi's research, its potential value, everything. And shortly after that symposium, she'd begun her relationship with Trevor. There's more, Dr. Patterson added. We found emails from her work account during that period. She was corresponding with a colleague about identifying promising research projects and building relationships with key personnel. The language suggests she was actively trying to gather competitive intelligence. Was she attempting corporate espionage? Naomi asked. We can't prove that definitively. She was fired from Pharmacare 18 months ago for unspecified performance issues, so we can't access those files. But the pattern of behavior suggests she was inappropriately interested in proprietary research information. Given her subsequent relationship with your husband, it raises serious questions about whether she targeted him specifically. I want this documented, Naomi said. My attorney needs to know everything. Already prepared, the HR director said, sliding a folder across the table. Complete visitor logs, email records, and our security assessment. If there's any possibility she accessed or shared confidential research information through her relationship with your husband, that could be grounds for additional legal action beyond your divorce. After the meeting, Naomi sat in her office staring at the folder. The betrayal was so much worse than she'd initially thought. This wasn't just a husband who'd fallen for another woman. This was a calculated scheme, possibly planned from the beginning, to gain access to valuable research and position themselves to profit from it. The text messages made more sense now, Trevor telling Simone to wait until the patent money comes through. They'd been planning this for years, waiting for the perfect moment when Naomi's research finally paid off. Her phone rang. Harrison, the investigator. I have something you need to hear, he said without preamble. Can you talk privately? Naomi locked her office door. Go ahead. I've been monitoring Trevor's communications through legal channels. This morning he met with a different lawyer, not a divorce attorney but a business attorney. They discussed trying to claim partial ownership of your research patent based on his support during your marriage. Rage flooded through Naomi so intensely she had to grip the edge of her desk. He wants credit for my research? His lawyer told him it's a weak claim but worth trying. The argument would be that as your husband, he provided emotional and financial support that enabled you to complete the research, therefore he deserves a portion of any royalties. I supported us both financially, Naomi said through clenched teeth. My salary was twice his. I paid for this house, most of our expenses, everything. And he was stealing from me the whole time. I know. His lawyer basically told him the same thing, that it won't work, especially given the fraud allegations. But Trevor's desperate. He sees that patent as his meal ticket. What else did they discuss? Contesting the divorce, claiming you abandoned the marriage by focusing on work, trying to argue for 50-50 asset split despite the fraud evidence. His lawyer seemed skeptical but agreed to try. Oh, and one more thing, Trevor asked about whether Simone could be compelled to testify if this goes to trial. His lawyer said yes and advised him that her testimony would likely hurt his case, not help it. After Harrison hung up, Naomi pulled out her own phone and typed a careful message to Andrea. Trevor is planning to claim partial ownership of my research patent. He's also trying to build a narrative that I abandoned our marriage by focusing on work. I have evidence that contradicts both claims. Andrea's response came quickly. Good. Let him try. We'll bury him with his own text messages. How are you holding up? Naomi thought about the question. How was she holding up? Her husband had betrayed her systematically for years. His mistress had possibly targeted him specifically to gain access to her research. They planned to steal her money, her work, her achievements. And now Trevor wanted to claim credit for research he'd actively tried to sabotage by distracting and stealing from her. I'm fine, she typed back. Angry but fine. See you Monday. The weekend passed in a blur of preparation. Naomi reviewed every document, every piece of evidence, every timeline. She practiced staying calm, keeping her voice level, not showing emotion when confronted with Trevor's lies. Sunday evening, Andrea called for a final preparation session. Tomorrow is just an emergency hearing, Andrea explained. The judge will decide temporary issues, who stays in the house, asset freezes, temporary support if applicable. The full divorce trial will come later. But tomorrow sets the tone for everything that follows. What should I expect? Trevor's lawyer will try to paint you as unreasonable. They'll claim you overreacted, that the affair was just a mistake, that freezing him out of accounts in the house is punitive. They'll probably argue he needs access to marital funds to pay for his hotel and living expenses. He created this situation, Naomi said. Exactly. That's what we'll argue. He chose to commit fraud, to violate the marriage, to steal from joint accounts. The consequences are his own fault. Andrea paused. Naomi, you need to be prepared, you'll have to see him tomorrow. Sit in the same room. He might try to talk to you before or after the hearing. I won't engage with him. Good. Don't speak to him at all unless it's absolutely necessary and through lawyers. Don't respond to any emotional appeals or manipulation attempts. Stay focused on the facts. That night, Naomi barely slept. She kept rehearsing possible scenarios in her mind. What Trevor might say. How she'd respond. The judge's potential questions. Every possible outcome. At 6 a.m., she gave up on sleep and went for a run through her neighborhood. The early morning air was cool, the streets quiet. She ran hard, pushing herself until her legs burned and her lungs ached. Physical exhaustion helped quiet the mental turmoil. By 7:30 a.m., she was showered and dressed in a conservative navy suit, professional, composed, unshakable. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. 2 weeks ago, she'd been excited about her research, blissfully unaware of the betrayal in her life. Now she looked like someone ready for war. At 8:30 a.m., Naomi arrived at the courthouse. Andrea met her in the hallway outside the courtroom, looking sharp and confident. Trevor's already here with his attorney, Andrea said quietly. They look worried. Good. Ready? Ready. They walked into the courtroom together. Trevor sat at the defense table with an older man in an expensive suit, his attorney, presumably. Trevor looked awful. His hair was messy, he had dark circles under his eyes, and his suit looked slept in. When he saw Naomi, his expression cycled rapidly through emotions: hope, anger, desperation, fear. Naomi kept her face completely neutral and took her seat next to Andrea without once looking directly at Trevor. All rise, the bailiff called out. The Honorable Judge Patricia Morrison presiding. Judge Morrison was a stern-looking woman in her 60s with sharp eyes that seemed to assess everything at once. She sat down, reviewed the files in front of her, and looked up at both parties. This is an emergency hearing in the matter of Richardson versus Richardson, she began. I've reviewed the filed motions. Ms. Richardson is seeking exclusive use of the marital home, freezing of all joint assets pending full trial, and restraining orders preventing Mr. Richardson from accessing certain accounts. Mr. Richardson is contesting these requests. Let's hear arguments. Ms. Collins, you first. Andrea stood up, every inch the professional attorney. Your Honor, this case involves extensive financial fraud committed by the respondent against my client over a period of at least 3 years. Mr. Richardson systematically stole from joint accounts, established a fraudulent LLC to hide assets, and misappropriated over $200,000 in marital funds, including my client's inheritance from her grandmother. We have comprehensive documentation of this fraud, including bank statements, business records, and text messages where Mr. Richardson discussed his plans to clean out the accounts before divorcing my client. Andrea presented the evidence methodically: bank statements showing transfers, text messages displaying Trevor's plans, documentation of the LLC and the apartment he'd been paying for. She pulled up the message where Trevor and Simone discussed waiting for Naomi's patent money before leaving. Judge Morrison's expression grew increasingly stern as she reviewed each piece of evidence. Trevor's attorney stood up. Your Honor, while my client admits there was an extramarital relationship, which he deeply regrets, the characterization of these financial transactions as theft or fraud is inaccurate. These were joint accounts and my client had every legal right to access them. The LLC was established for legitimate business purposes. What legitimate business purposes? Judge Morrison interrupted. What business was this LLC conducting? Trevor's attorney hesitated. Property management, Your Honor. Property management of one apartment leased to Mr. Richardson's mistress, paid for with marital funds? The judge's tone was icy. Continue. My client believes the asset freeze is punitive and unnecessary. He needs access to funds to pay for basic living expenses. Ms. Richardson has frozen him out of his own home, changed the locks, and left him unable to access any money. Mr. Richardson created this situation by emptying joint accounts the morning after being served with divorce papers, Andrea countered. He attempted to transfer $12,000 from their remaining joint account at 6:47 a.m. last Friday, before business hours, clearly trying to drain the account before court-ordered freezes could take effect. This shows ongoing intent to defraud my client. Judge Morrison looked at Trevor directly. Did you attempt to transfer money from a joint account after being served with divorce papers? Trevor stood up, his lawyer pulling him back down and whispering urgently. His lawyer spoke. My client was attempting to access funds he believed he was entitled to. After being served with papers that specifically mentioned asset protection and fraud allegations? The judge's skepticism was obvious. That shows remarkably poor judgment at minimum. What about the allegations regarding his treatment of Ms. Richardson? I see a note here about a phone call where the mistress answered his phone. Andrea stood again. Your Honor, my client had just received the biggest professional achievement of her career, FDA approval for her cancer treatment research. She called her husband to share this news, and his mistress answered the phone and mocked her. This demonstrates Mr. Richardson's complete disregard for his wife and the marriage. Judge Morrison looked at Trevor again. Is this true? Trevor's lawyer started to speak, but the judge cut him off. I asked Mr. Richardson directly. Trevor stood up slowly. Your Honor, yes, that happened, but it was a mistake. The phone was in the other room and Simone thought it was her mother calling. Your phone was in another room during what your wife understood to be a business trip, and another woman answered it? And then mocked your wife about her career achievement. Judge Morrison's voice was cold. Mr. Richardson, I've been a family court judge for 23 years. I've seen every excuse, every justification, every attempt to minimize harmful behavior. This is one of the cruelest scenarios I've encountered. Trevor's face crumbled. Please, Your Honor, I love my wife. This was all a terrible mistake. I want to reconcile. You love your wife, but you stole her inheritance money to pay for your girlfriend's apartment? The judge's tone was sharp. You love your wife, but you let your mistress answer her phone call on what should have been a celebration day? Mr. Richardson, love is demonstrated through actions, not words. Your actions show contempt, not love. She reviewed her notes for a long moment, then looked up at both attorneys. Here's my ruling. Effective immediately, Ms. Richardson retains exclusive use of the marital home. All joint accounts remain frozen pending full trial except for a single account which will hold $2,000 per month transferred to Mr. Richardson for basic living expenses, not a penny more. If Mr. Richardson attempts to access any other marital funds, he will face contempt charges. Trevor's lawyer stood up quickly. Your Honor, $2,000 per month is not sufficient. Your client stole $200,000 from his wife. He can manage on $2,000 until trial. Additionally, I'm ordering a full forensic accounting of all marital finances going back 4 years. Mr. Richardson will cooperate fully with that accounting or face penalties. We'll reconvene in 6 weeks for a status hearing. Until then, Mr. Richardson is prohibited from contacting Ms. Richardson except through attorneys. Any violation will result in immediate contempt charges. She banged her gavel. Court adjourned. Naomi sat very still as the judge left the courtroom. Around her, people began gathering their belongings and filing out. She heard Trevor's voice behind her, desperate and pleading. Naomi, please. Please just talk to me for 5 minutes. I can explain everything. Please. Andrea put a hand on Naomi's arm. Don't respond. Let's go. They walked out of the courtroom together, Trevor's voice following them until the door closed behind them. In the hallway, Andrea turned to Naomi with a satisfied expression. That went even better than expected. Judge Morrison clearly despises what he did. The full trial should be straightforward. When will that be? Probably 3 to 4 months. We'll use that time to complete the forensic accounting and build an even more comprehensive case. Andrea paused. Naomi, I need to warn you, Trevor's going to try everything to change your mind. He'll send messages through mutual friends, try to show up at your work, maybe even try romantic gestures. Don't fall for any of it. I won't, Naomi said firmly. They walked out of the courthouse into the bright morning sunlight. Naomi took a deep breath of fresh air, feeling something like relief wash over her. The first battle was won. The house was hers. Her assets were protected. Trevor was contained. But as she walked to her car, she saw him standing in the parking lot, watching her with an expression of complete desperation. For just a second, she felt a flicker of something, not sympathy but recognition of the man she'd once loved. Then she remembered him laughing with Simone about her being a research nerd. She remembered that woman's mocking voice on the phone. She remembered 3 years of systematic lies and theft. The flicker disappeared. Naomi got in her car and drove away without looking back. Phase 1 was complete. Trevor was legally constrained, his access to money controlled, his ability to hide assets blocked. Now came Phase 2, ensuring he faced consequences not just in family court, but professionally and financially in every possible way. Because Naomi hadn't just spent 7 years learning to defeat cancer cells through methodical research. She'd also learned that some things, once identified as harmful, needed to be completely eradicated to protect future health. Trevor Richardson was about to learn that lesson the hard way. The first week after the emergency hearing felt like the calm before a hurricane. Naomi threw herself into work, using the clinical trial preparations as a welcome distraction from her imploding personal life. But the storm was brewing in multiple directions. On Tuesday, she received a call from MedTech Solutions' HR department. The woman on the phone sounded uncomfortable. Ms. Richardson, this is Bethany Walsh from MedTech HR. We're conducting an internal investigation into allegations involving your husband, Trevor Richardson, and another employee, Simone Patterson. Given that you're named in some of the relevant documentation, we wanted to inform you that we may need to request information from you. What kind of investigation? Naomi asked, though she could guess. We've discovered that Mr. Richardson submitted false expense reports over an extended period, claiming business travel that appears to have been personal in nature. Additionally, there are concerns about an inappropriate relationship between him and a subordinate employee that may have violated our code of conduct. If our investigation confirms these violations, both employees will face disciplinary action up to and including termination. Let Trevor's professional life crumble alongside his personal life. I'm happy to cooperate, Naomi said. My attorney has documentation that might be relevant to your expense report investigation. Would you like me to provide that? That would be very helpful, yes. I'll send you a secure upload link. After hanging up, Naomi forwarded the information to Andrea, who sent over sanitized versions of the bank statements showing hotel charges and restaurant bills during Trevor's supposed business trips. Within hours, MedTech's HR had everything they needed to prove Trevor had been defrauding the company. On Wednesday, Naomi's doorbell camera caught Trevor standing on the front porch at 11 p.m. He wasn't trying to break in, just standing there looking at the house. After 10 minutes, he walked back to his car and drove away. The camera caught him again Thursday at 6 a.m. and Friday at midnight. He's testing boundaries, Andrea said when Naomi showed her the footage. Seeing if you'll acknowledge him or engage. Don't. But document every instance. If he escalates, we can get a stronger restraining order. That Friday evening, as Naomi was leaving the research institute, she found Simone waiting by her car in the parking lot. The other woman looked different from her LinkedIn photo, thinner, tired, with dark roots showing in her highlighted hair. We need to talk, Simone said. No, we don't. Naomi walked past her toward her car. You don't understand what you've done, Simone followed her. Trevor is falling apart. He's losing his job because of you. He's living in a terrible hotel. You've destroyed him. Naomi stopped and turned around, her voice cold. I didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself when he chose to steal from me, lie to me, and let you mock me on the phone. That phone call was a mistake. I thought you knew about us. I thought you just didn't care. Simone's voice rose. Trevor said you were so focused on your work that you barely noticed him. He said you wouldn't mind if he found happiness elsewhere. Then he should have divorced me honestly instead of stealing my inheritance money to pay for your apartment. Naomi opened her car door. Don't come near me again. And don't come near my workplace. I'll have security escort you out if you do. You're not the victim here. Simone shouted as Naomi got in her car. You ignored your husband for years. You chose your career over your marriage. This is your fault as much as his. Naomi drove away without responding. In her rearview mirror, she saw Simone standing in the parking lot, arms wrapped around herself, looking lost. She felt nothing. No sympathy, no guilt, no doubt. Simone had helped Trevor steal from her, had mocked her on what should have been a celebration day, had likely targeted Trevor specifically because of Naomi's valuable research. Whatever consequences Simone faced were earned. That evening, Harrison sent an update. Trevor was terminated from MedTech today. Simone was placed on unpaid suspension pending further investigation. Company prosecuting both for expense report fraud. Trevor's facing potential criminal charges. The pieces were falling exactly as they should. But Monday brought a complication. Naomi's mother called, having heard about the divorce from Naomi's younger sister. Sweetheart, I just heard. Are you alright? What happened? Naomi explained the basics: Trevor's affair, the financial fraud, the divorce proceedings. Her mother listened in shocked silence. I can't believe it, she finally said. Trevor always seems so supportive of your career. So proud of you. It was all an act, Mom. He was using me. Have you considered counseling? Marriage therapy? Sometimes these things can be worked through. No. Naomi's voice was firm. He stole from me. He let his mistress mock me. He planned to take my patent money and leave. There's nothing to work through. It's over. Her mother sighed. I just don't want you to give up on the marriage because you're angry. 9 years is a long time. Maybe with time and forgiveness. Mom, I need you to support me, not suggest I forgive someone who betrayed me systematically for years. Naomi felt her carefully maintained composure starting to crack. Can you do that? There was a long pause. Of course, honey. I'm sorry. I just want you to be happy. I will be happy. Once this divorce is finalized and he's out of my life completely. After hanging up, Naomi sat in her kitchen and let herself cry for the first time since discovering the affair. Not because she missed Trevor or doubted her decision, but because the weight of everything was crushing. Her marriage was over. Her family was questioning her choices. Her colleagues knew she'd been cheated on. The humiliation was public and permanent. But she only allowed herself 15 minutes of tears. Then she washed her face, made herself dinner, and returned to reviewing clinical trial documents. The work was still there. Her research was still groundbreaking. Her career was still successful. Trevor had taken her trust, her money, and her belief in their marriage. But he hadn't taken her achievements or her future. 2 weeks after the emergency hearing, the forensic accountant Andrea had hired delivered his preliminary report. Naomi sat in Andrea's office as they reviewed the findings together. It's worse than we initially thought, the accountant said, pulling up spreadsheets on his laptop. Mr. Richardson has been systematically diverting funds for 4 years, not 3. The LLC we discovered was only one of 3 separate entities he established. Between all 3, he's moved approximately $284,000 out of marital accounts. $284,000. Naomi felt sick. Can we recover it? She asked. Most of it, yes. Some was spent on untraceable expenses, cash withdrawals, meals, entertainment. But the money transferred to the LLC accounts is still there, and the apartment lease payments can be calculated and recovered. I estimate we can recover $190,000 to $210,000. What about the rest? Likely gone. Spent on his affair and his lifestyle with Miss Patterson. But in Pennsylvania, when one spouse dissipates marital assets, the court can assign a larger portion of remaining assets to the innocent spouse to compensate. You'll likely end up with significantly more than 50% of everything. Andrea leaned forward. There's more good news. MedTech Solutions confirmed they're prosecuting Trevor for expense report fraud. The company estimates he falsified claims totaling $47,000 over 3 years. That's criminal fraud, separate from the divorce. Will he go to jail? Naomi asked. Possibly. White-collar fraud cases sometimes result in probation and restitution rather than jail time, but given the amount and duration, jail time is possible. Andrea pulled up another document. Additionally, Simone Patterson was terminated from MedTech yesterday. Their investigation found she knew about the false expense reports and benefited from them. Trevor claimed business dinners that were actually dates with her. She's facing potential charges as an accessory. Everything was unraveling for both of them exactly as it should. There's one more thing, the forensic accountant said. I found evidence that Mr. Richardson took out a personal loan 18 months ago for $50,000. The loan application lists the marital home as collateral, but you never signed the documentation. That's forgery. He forged my signature? Naomi felt the rage returning, sharp and cold. Yes. The signature on file doesn't match your verified signature. That's another criminal charge: forgery and fraudulent loan application. The bank is cooperating with the investigation. After the meeting, Naomi sat in her car in the parking garage, trying to process everything. 4 years of lies. Nearly $300,000 stolen. Forged signatures. Criminal fraud. Every day brought new revelations of just how thoroughly Trevor had betrayed her. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Please just talk to me. I'm losing everything. I know I messed up, but please don't do this. I love you. Trevor, using yet another person's phone. Naomi deleted the message without responding and drove to the Research Institute. She had a meeting with Dr. Patterson about the clinical trial timeline. Naomi, he said as she entered his office, I wanted to check on you. I know you're going through a difficult time personally. If you need to reduce your hours or take some time off. No, Naomi said immediately. This work is the most important thing in my life right now. It's what's keeping me sane. He nodded understandingly. The trial is going well. We have 15 patients enrolled and early indicators are promising. Your treatment protocol is performing better than expected. You should be very proud. She was proud. Despite everything happening in her personal life, her professional achievements stood solid. Cancer patients were receiving her treatment and it was working. That mattered more than anything Trevor had done to her. Over the following weeks, Naomi settled into a new routine. Work consumed most of her time, which was exactly what she wanted. At home, she began slowly redecorating, removing traces of Trevor from the house. She painted the bedroom a cool blue-gray instead of the beige Trevor had chosen. She bought new bedding, new curtains, new artwork for the walls. She had the locks changed again after the doorbell camera caught Trevor trying to use a key. He'd apparently kept a copy somehow. This time she installed smart locks that couldn't be duplicated. Harrison's surveillance reports came weekly. Trevor was staying at an extended stay hotel, struggling to find new employment. His reputation in the medical device sales industry had been destroyed by the fraud charges. Potential employers Googled his name and found news articles about his arrest for expense report fraud. Simone had moved back to Tennessee, living with her sister. She'd been unable to find work in pharmaceutical sales after being fired from MedTech. Her social media showed angry posts about how one mistake had ruined her life, though she never mentioned Trevor by name or took responsibility for the affair and fraud. They're both falling apart, Harrison reported during one of their meetings. Trevor's lawyer advised him to settle the divorce quickly and favorably to you. Fighting it will only make things worse when he eventually faces criminal trial. He's looking at potential jail time plus restitution to both you and his former employer. His best option is to cooperate fully with the divorce and hope for leniency in the criminal case. Is he going to settle? Naomi asked. His lawyer is pushing for it. Trevor's resisting because he doesn't want to accept that everything is really over. He keeps talking about winning you back, making things right. His lawyer basically told him that ship has sailed and he needs to focus on minimizing legal damage. 1 month after the emergency hearing, Trevor's attorney contacted Andrea with a settlement proposal. Trevor would agree to give Naomi the house, 80% of all retirement accounts, full rights to her research patent with no claims from him, and repayment of $190,000 in stolen funds over 5 years. In exchange, Naomi would agree to a streamlined divorce process and wouldn't pursue additional financial penalties beyond what the court had already ordered. It's a good offer, Andrea said when she called Naomi to discuss it. You get almost everything you're entitled to without the stress and expense of a prolonged trial. The criminal charges will proceed regardless of whether you accept this settlement. What about the money he can't pay back? The $90,000 that's gone? The settlement includes that he'll be responsible for that portion if any of it is recovered through the criminal proceedings. Essentially, you get first claim on any restitution he pays. Naomi thought about it for a long time. Part of her wanted to drag Trevor through a brutal trial, to make him suffer through testimony about every lie, every betrayal. But another part just wanted this finished so she could move forward with her life. Tell him I'll agree under one condition, Naomi finally said. He signs an agreement never to contact me again except through lawyers for necessary legal matters. No phone calls, no messages, no showing up at my house or workplace. Complete separation. Done. I'll draft that provision into the settlement agreement. The papers were signed 2 weeks later. Naomi didn't attend the signing, she had Andrea handle everything. Trevor signed his portions at his lawyer's office while Naomi was at work, reviewing data from her clinical trial. Just like that, 9 years of marriage ended with signatures on legal documents. Naomi felt strange when Andrea called to confirm everything was finalized. Not sad exactly. Not relieved either. Just empty. Like closing a book she'd been reading for years without ever reaching a satisfying conclusion. That evening, she sat in her house, legally hers now, Trevor's name removed from the deed, and tried to envision what came next. The divorce was done. The criminal cases would proceed without her involvement. Trevor was out of her life permanently. She was free. But freedom felt strange and uncomfortable, like a coat that didn't quite fit right. She'd spent 9 years as part of a couple, building a life with someone, even if that someone had been lying to her. Now she was alone in a house that felt too big, working on research that consumed all her time with no personal life to speak of. Her phone rang. "Andrea. Just wanted to check on you," her friend said. "Big day. How are you feeling?" "I don't know," Naomi admitted. "Shouldn't I feel something? Happy or sad or angry? I just feel flat." "That's normal. Divorce is a grief process even when you're the one who initiated it. You're not grieving Trevor, you're grieving the marriage you thought you had, the future you thought you were building. That takes time to process." "I never wanted this," Naomi said quietly. "I wanted the marriage I believed we had. I wanted a partner who was actually supporting me instead of using me." "I know. And you'll find that again when you're ready. But right now focus on yourself. Your work, your achievements, your healing. The rest will come in time." After they hung up, Naomi walked through her quiet house, seeing it with new eyes. This was her space now. She could decorate it however she wanted, structure her life however she chose, pursue her career without anyone undermining her. Trevor was gone. Simone was gone. The lies and betrayal were behind her. But somehow that didn't feel like victory yet. It felt like the end of something without anything new beginning to take its place. Naomi went to bed early that night, emotionally exhausted. Tomorrow she'd go back to work, back to her research, back to the routine that gave her purpose. And maybe, eventually, this would start to feel like freedom instead of just emptiness. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, Trevor's criminal trial began. Naomi wasn't required to attend since the charges involved his fraud against MedTech Solutions rather than their personal finances, but Andrea suggested she go to the opening statements. "It'll give you closure," Andrea said. "You'll see him face real consequences for his actions." Naomi took a personal day from work and sat in the back of the courtroom as the prosecutor laid out the case against Trevor Richardson. The charges were extensive: wire fraud, falsification of business records, theft from an employer, and forgery for the loan documents where he'd forged Naomi's signature. Trevor sat at the defense table looking smaller than she remembered. He'd lost weight, his suit hung loosely on his frame, and his hair had more gray than it did 6 months ago. When his eyes swept the courtroom and landed on her, his expression crumpled. He looked like he might cry. Naomi kept her face neutral and looked away. The prosecutor's opening statement was devastating. She outlined how Trevor had systematically defrauded his employer over 3 years, submitting false expense reports for business dinners that were actually dates with Simone Patterson. She showed hotel charges claimed as business travel when Trevor was actually 5 miles from his office. She presented testimony from co-workers who confirmed Trevor had claimed to be at conferences he never attended. The total amount stolen from MedTech Solutions, $47,300. "This wasn't a mistake," the prosecutor said, facing the jury. "This was a calculated long-term scheme to defraud his employer and fund his affair. Mr. Richardson knew exactly what he was doing. He fabricated receipts, created fake meeting notes, and lied to his supervisors repeatedly. And when his wife began divorce proceedings and his fraud was discovered, he attempted to transfer money from their joint accounts to hide assets. That shows consciousness of guilt and ongoing criminal intent." Trevor's defense attorney tried to paint him as someone who'd made poor choices but wasn't a criminal. "My client admits he made mistakes in his personal life. He had an affair and that was wrong. But the expense report issues were largely misunderstandings about what qualified as business expenses. Mr. Richardson often combined personal and professional activities, as many sales professionals do. Did he often combine them at hotels 5 miles from his office when he claimed to be in a different city?" The prosecutor interrupted during cross-examination. Did he misunderstand that dinner with his girlfriend wasn't a business expense? The trial lasted 3 days. Witness after witness testified about Trevor's lies and falsified documents. The evidence was overwhelming: bank statements, expense reports, hotel records, testimony from colleagues who'd been suspicious of his frequent business trips. On the third day, Simone Patterson was called to testify. Naomi watched as the other woman took the stand, looking nervous in a conservative gray dress. "Miss Patterson," the prosecutor began, "how long were you in a relationship with the defendant?" "About 4 years," Simone said quietly. 4 years. Even longer than Naomi had thought. The lies went back almost half of her marriage. "During that time, did Mr. Richardson tell you he was falsifying expense reports to fund your relationship?" "Objection," Trevor's attorney called out. Leading the witness. Sustained. Rephrase. "Miss Patterson, were you aware of how Mr. Richardson was paying for your apartment, your dinners, your trips together?" "He said it was from his sales bonuses," Simone said. "I didn't know the details." "Did you ever see these bonuses on official pay stubs?" "No." "Did you ever question where the money was coming from?" Simone's voice dropped even quieter. "No. I trusted him." "You trusted a married man who was lying to his wife?" The prosecutor's tone was sharp. "A man who told you he was planning to leave his wife once her research patent generated money?" Objection. Trevor's attorney was on his feet. "Irrelevant to the charges. It goes to the defendant's pattern of deception and planning, Your Honor." "I'll allow it." "Answer the question, Miss Patterson." Simone looked miserable. "Yes. He said we'd leave together once his wife's research paid off. He said she wouldn't fight the divorce because she was too focused on work to care. But that wasn't true, was it?" "No. She cared. She fought." Simone glanced toward where Naomi sat in the back of the courtroom. Their eyes met for a brief second before Simone looked away. "I made a mistake getting involved with him. I didn't think about how I was hurting his wife. I just believed what he told me." The prosecutor questioned her for another 30 minutes about specific expenses, trips, and purchases. Simone admitted to most of them, repeatedly saying she believed Trevor when he claimed the money came from legitimate sources. During cross-examination, Trevor's attorney tried to suggest Simone had pressured Trevor to spend money on her, but it didn't land. The jury looked skeptical. That evening, closing arguments were brief. The evidence spoke for itself. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. When they returned, the verdict was unanimous on all counts: guilty. Trevor's sentencing was scheduled for 6 weeks later. Naomi didn't attend that hearing, but Andrea did and called her immediately afterward. 18 months in minimum security prison, followed by 3 years probation. He has to pay full restitution to MedTech Solutions, $47,300 plus interest. He also has to pay the bank $50,000 for the fraudulent loan. And he's barred from working in pharmaceutical sales for 5 years. What about the money he owes me? That's separate from the criminal case. He's still obligated to pay you the $190,000 under the divorce settlement, but realistically, he won't have any income while he's in prison. You're first in line for any money he earns once he's released, but it could take years to collect everything. Naomi sat with that information. Trevor was going to prison. His career was destroyed. His reputation was ruined. He'd lost his marriage, his home, his freedom. She thought she'd feel satisfied when this moment came. Instead, she felt nothing. No triumph, no vindication. Just a sense of waste of years, waste of trust, waste of what could have been if Trevor had simply been honest. "You okay?" Andrea asked. "Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for handling all of this. That's what friends are for." "And Naomi? This chapter is closed now. He's out of your life permanently. You can move forward." Moving forward. The phrase seemed impossibly optimistic. That weekend, Naomi went through the house one final time, removing the last traces of Trevor. His old college trophies that had been in the basement, donated. The photos from their wedding, stored in a box in the attic where she wouldn't see them. The furniture they'd picked out together, sold and replaced with pieces she chose herself. She repainted the living room, replaced the couch, hung new artwork. When she was finished, the house looked completely different. Modern, clean, distinctly hers. She stood in the center of the living room and tried to feel something positive about the transformation. This was supposed to be a fresh start, a new beginning, proof that she'd moved on. Instead, it just felt like a very expensive way to forget someone who wasn't worth remembering in the first place. On Monday, Naomi met with Dr. Patterson to review the latest clinical trial results. The data was extraordinary, her cancer treatment protocol was showing a 70% positive response rate in phase 1 trials, significantly higher than projected. "This is remarkable, Naomi," Dr. Patterson said, genuine excitement in his voice. "If these results hold through phase 2, you're looking at a genuinely groundbreaking treatment. The patent royalties alone could be substantial, but more importantly, you'll be saving lives." Saving lives. That was what mattered. Not Trevor, not the divorce, not the money he'd stolen. Her work had always been about something bigger than her personal life. "When do we move to phase 2? Naomi asked. 6 months. We need to complete the phase 1 safety assessment and compile the data for FDA review. But barring any unexpected complications, you're on track for phase 2 trials by next spring." After the meeting, Naomi returned to her lab and lost herself in data analysis. This was where she belonged, in the clean logic of science, where truth was provable and results were measurable. Personal relationships were messy and unpredictable. Research was reliable. Her phone buzzed with a text from Harrison, "Final surveillance report attached. Trevor entered minimum security facility today. Active monitoring ended. Let me know if you need anything else." Naomi opened the attached report. Photos of Trevor being processed into the correctional facility. He looked defeated, broken, nothing like the confident man she'd married 9 years ago. She closed the report without reading the rest and deleted the message. That part of her life was over. Trevor was where he deserved to be, facing consequences for his choices. She'd won every legal battle, recovered most of her stolen money, kept her house and her research rights. By every objective measure, she'd achieved justice. So why did she still feel like she'd lost something important? Naomi stayed late at the lab that night, reviewing data until her eyes burned with fatigue. When she finally drove home at 10 p.m., her house was dark and empty. She heated up leftovers, ate them standing at the kitchen counter, and went to bed early. This was her life now. Successful professionally, solitary personally. Safe from betrayal because there was no one close enough to betray her. It should have felt like victory. Instead, it just felt lonely. But Naomi told herself that was temporary. She'd been focused on the legal battles, the divorce, the cleanup of Trevor's betrayal. Once all of that was fully behind her, she'd have energy to build a new life. To make friends outside of work. Maybe eventually to date again, though that seemed impossible to imagine right now. For now, the work was enough. It had to be enough. She'd spent 7 years developing a treatment to save cancer patients' lives. She'd spent 6 months systematically dismantling the life of a man who'd betrayed her. Now she just needed to figure out how to build a life for herself that felt like more than just surviving. That would be the hardest challenge yet. 6 months after Trevor entered prison, Naomi's life had developed a steady rhythm. Work consumed most of her time, phase 2 clinical trials were underway, and the results continued to exceed expectations. Her treatment protocol was now being discussed in major medical journals, and she'd been invited to present at 3 international conferences. Professionally, everything was thriving. Personally, she existed in a strange state of suspended animation. She wasn't unhappy exactly. But she wasn't happy either. Just functional. Then one morning in late spring, she received an unexpected call from Trevor's attorney. "Ms. Richardson, I wanted to inform you that my former client has been having difficulties in prison. He's been placed in medical observation after what the facility is calling a mental health episode." Naomi felt her stomach tighten. "Why are you telling me this?" "He's been asking to see you. I advised him that the divorce settlement includes no contact provisions, but he's insistent. I wanted to let you know in case he finds a way to reach out through other channels." "I won't see him." The answer is no. "I understand. I've conveyed that message. But Ms. Richardson, I feel obligated to tell you, he's not doing well. Prison has been harder on him than anticipated. The fraud conviction destroyed any remaining professional reputation. His family has largely disowned him. He's isolated and struggling." Naomi felt a flicker of something that might have been sympathy, but she pushed it down. "That's not my problem. He created this situation." "I know. I just wanted you to be aware." The attorney paused. "There's one more thing. Simone Patterson contacted our office asking about whether she can visit him in prison. Apparently she's been trying to rebuild their relationship now that he's no longer married." The irony was sharp. Simone had abandoned Trevor when the legal troubles started but now wanted back in his life. Maybe she thought visiting him in prison proved loyalty, or maybe she genuinely still cared about him. Either way, it wasn't Naomi's concern. "Thank you for the information," Naomi said. "But please don't contact me again unless it's absolutely legally necessary." She hung up and tried to return to work, but the phone call had unsettled her. She didn't want to care about Trevor's situation. She'd worked hard to move past the anger and hurt, to build a life that didn't include thinking about him at all. But knowing he was struggling created an uncomfortable emotional tangle. She wasn't happy about his suffering, she wasn't that vindictive. But she also couldn't muster any genuine concern. He'd made his choices, and these were the natural consequences. That afternoon, Naomi met with Andrea for their standing monthly lunch. Her friend took one look at her face and immediately knew something was wrong. What happened? Naomi explained the phone call. Andrea's expression darkened. His attorney shouldn't have called you. That's borderline harassment. Want me to send a cease and desist? No, I think he was genuinely trying to warn me that Trevor might try to contact me. I appreciate that, actually. How do you feel about Trevor struggling in prison? Naomi considered the question carefully. I don't feel good about it, but I also don't feel responsible for it. He committed crimes. He's facing the consequences. That's not on me. Good answer. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for the natural results of his actions. Andrea took a sip of her wine. On a different topic, how are you doing otherwise? Your work is going amazingly, but I worry about your personal life. When's the last time you did something just for fun? Naomi couldn't remember. I went to that medical conference last month. That's work. I mean fun. Movies, concerts, dinners with friends. Dating. I'm not ready to date. It's been 6 months since the divorce was final. I'm not saying you should jump into a relationship, but maybe it's time to at least be open to the possibility of meeting someone. I don't know how, Naomi admitted. I met Trevor in college. I've been with him since I was 22. I don't even know how modern dating works. Start small. Go to some social events. Join a hiking group or book club or something that gets you around people outside of work. See what happens. Andrea smiled gently. You deserve to be happy, Naomi. Not just successful, happy. The work is great, but it can't be everything. Naomi knew Andrea was right, but the idea of putting herself out there felt exhausting. She'd spent the last 6 months building walls to protect herself from being hurt again. Opening those walls voluntarily seemed impossible. 2 weeks later, unexpected news arrived in multiple forms on the same day. First, Dr. Patterson called her into his office with huge news. A major pharmaceutical company wanted to license her treatment protocol. The deal would bring substantial funding for expanded trials and eventual commercialization. If everything went well, her treatment could be widely available within 3 years. The royalty structure they're proposing is very favorable, Dr. Patterson explained, showing her the preliminary offer. You'd receive royalties on every treatment administered. Conservative estimates suggest that could be several $1 million annually once the treatment is widely adopted. Several $1 million. The number was staggering. All her work, all those late nights and failed experiments and persistent dedication. It was going to change people's lives and provide financial security she'd never imagined. This was what Trevor had been waiting for, planning to take half of, scheming to steal. And he'd lost access to all of it because of his own choices. Naomi felt a fierce satisfaction at that thought. The second piece of news came from Harrison, who'd been maintaining minimal surveillance to ensure Trevor had no opportunities to contact her. Thought you'd want to know, Harrison said over the phone. Trevor's early release request was denied. He'll serve the full 18 months unless he earns good behavior reductions. Also, Simone Patterson has been visiting him regularly in prison. Looks like she's standing by him after all. Good for her, Naomi said, and meant it without sarcasm. If Simone wanted to waste her time supporting a man who'd proven himself to be dishonest and manipulative, that was her choice. The third piece of news came from an unexpected source, Trevor's sister, Monica, who Naomi had always liked during the marriage. Naomi, I know I probably shouldn't call, Monica said, but I wanted to reach out. I heard about Trevor's situation and I want you to know, our family doesn't blame you for any of this. What he did was unforgivable. Thank you, Naomi said, surprised by how much the validation meant. I appreciated you and your family during our marriage. We appreciated you too. Trevor threw away the best thing that ever happened to him. Monica paused. I also wanted to tell you, my parents have cut off communication with Trevor. They're ashamed of what he did, especially stealing from you. They asked me to tell you they're sorry if they ever made you feel like you needed to reconsider the divorce. Naomi remembered her mother's initial suggestion about counseling and forgiveness. It was validating to know Trevor's own parents recognized how thoroughly he destroyed the marriage. I hope you find happiness, Monica continued. You deserve so much better than what my brother gave you. And for what it's worth, your research sounds amazing. I saw an article about your cancer treatment trials. You're doing incredible work." After they hung up, Naomi sat in her office feeling something shift inside her. For 6 months, she'd been in a holding pattern, not moving backward but not really moving forward either. Just existing day to day, focused on work, avoiding anything emotional. But maybe it was time to actually move forward instead of just treading water. That evening, Naomi did something she hadn't done in months. She called an old friend from graduate school, Lauren, who lived across town. "Naomi. Oh my God, it's been forever. How are you?" They talked for an hour, catching up on everything. Naomi explained the divorce in broad strokes: cheating husband, financial fraud, legal battles, everything finished now. Lauren listened with appropriate sympathy and outrage. "I'm so sorry you went through that. But honestly, you sound good. Stronger than I expected." "I had to be strong. There wasn't really another option." "Well, regardless of why, I'm proud of you. Now what are you doing Saturday? Because a group of us are going to this new wine bar downtown, and you need to come." Naomi's first instinct was to make an excuse. She had work to do, data to review, protocols to write. But then she thought about Andrea's advice. About how work couldn't be everything. About how she deserved to be happy, not just successful. "I'll be there," she said. Saturday evening, Naomi stood in front of her closet trying to remember how to dress for social situations. She'd been wearing business attire for work and sweatpants at home for months. Actually going out felt foreign. She settled on dark jeans and a nice blouse, casual but put together, and drove to the wine bar feeling nervous. What if she didn't fit in with Lauren's friends? What if they asked uncomfortable questions about the divorce? What if she'd forgotten how to have normal conversations that weren't about cancer research? But when she arrived, Lauren greeted her with a huge hug and immediately introduced her to 5 other people, a mix of old grad school friends and newer connections. They were warm and welcoming, and no one pressed her for details about her personal life. Instead, they talked about books, travel, current events, their jobs. Naomi found herself relaxing, laughing at stories, contributing to conversations. It felt good to be around people outside of work, to remember she was a person beyond her research. Around 9 p.m., a man approached their table tall, with friendly eyes and an easy smile. "Lauren, I thought that was you. How've you been?" "Justin. Great to see you." Lauren turned to the group. "Everyone, this is Justin Pierce. We did our postdocs together. Justin, this is everyone." He greeted the group warmly, his attention lingering on Naomi. "And you are?" "Naomi Richardson. I also did my graduate work with Lauren." "Richardson. Wait, are you the Naomi Richardson? The cancer researcher whose phase 2 trial results just got published?" Naomi felt her cheeks flush. "Yes, that's me. I read your paper last week. It's brilliant work. The innovative approach to targeting resistant cells is exactly what the field needed." His enthusiasm was genuine, not performative. "I'm in biotech development. We're always looking at emerging treatments. Your protocol could be genuinely transformative." They ended up talking for 20 minutes about her research, his work developing tools for drug delivery, the challenges of translating lab breakthroughs into clinical practice. It was the first conversation Naomi had had in months where someone was interested in her work for its own merits, not because they felt obligated to ask. When Justin's friends called him back to his own table, he hesitated. "Would it be okay if I got your contact information? I'd love to continue this conversation sometime. Maybe over coffee?" Naomi felt panic flutter in her chest. Was he asking her on a date? Or just a professional networking coffee? She hadn't navigated these situations in 9 years. "Sure," she heard herself saying. "That would be nice." They exchanged numbers, and Justin left with a warm smile and a promise to text her. Lauren immediately leaned over. "He's great, by the way. Single, successful, genuinely nice guy. And he clearly liked you." "We were just talking about work," Naomi protested. "Right. Because that's why he kept looking at you like you were the most interesting person in the room." Lauren grinned. "I'm not saying you need to jump into anything. But if he texts you, maybe actually respond instead of overthinking it." Naomi went home that night feeling lighter than she had in months. She'd been out with friends, had actual conversations about things other than the divorce or clinical trials, and maybe, possibly, someone interesting had asked for her number. It wasn't happiness yet, but it felt like the very beginning of what happiness might eventually look like. Her phone buzzed. A text from Justin. "Really enjoyed talking with you tonight. Would love to grab coffee this week if you're free. No pressure, just thought it would be nice to continue the conversation." Naomi stared at the message for a full minute, her thumb hovering over the keyboard. Every instinct told her to decline, to protect herself, to avoid the possibility of being hurt again. But another voice, quieter but growing stronger, said this was part of moving forward. Not rushing into anything, just being open to possibilities. She typed back, "Coffee sounds good. How's Thursday afternoon?" His response came immediately, "Perfect. I know a great place near the university. 3 p.m.? See you then." Naomi set down her phone and looked around her quiet house. The life she was building didn't include Trevor anymore. It didn't include lies or betrayal or stolen money. It was genuinely, completely hers. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to let someone new into it. Carefully, slowly, with appropriate caution. But to actually try again rather than shutting herself off completely. Trevor had taken a lot from her. But he hadn't taken her capacity to hope for better things. That was still entirely her own. Thursday afternoon arrived faster than Naomi expected. She'd spent the intervening days alternating between looking forward to coffee with Justin and convincing herself to cancel. The back and forth exhausted her more than any clinical trial protocol review ever had. "It's just coffee," Andrea said when Naomi called her Wednesday night in a mild panic. "Not a marriage proposal. You're allowed to have coffee with someone interesting without it meaning anything more than coffee. What if he expects something? What if I'm not ready? What if..." "Naomi, breathe. You're a brilliant research scientist who just revolutionized cancer treatment. You can handle a coffee date with a nice guy who appreciates your work." So Thursday at 2:45 p.m., Naomi found herself walking into a cozy coffee shop near the university, scanning the space for Justin. He was already there, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups in front of him. "I took a chance," he said, standing as she approached. "Lauren mentioned you always order mint tea at wine bars, so I got you a peppermint tea. But I can get you something else if that's wrong." The small thoughtfulness surprised her. "Peppermint tea is perfect. Thank you." They sat down, and for the first 5 minutes, conversation flowed easily. They discussed his biotech company's latest project, developing improved drug delivery systems for targeted cancer therapies. Naomi found herself genuinely engaged, asking technical questions, offering insights from her own research perspective. "The challenge is always getting drugs past the blood-brain barrier for neural cancers," Justin explained, sketching a rough diagram on a napkin. "Current methods are too invasive or not targeted enough. We're working on a nanoparticle approach, but the stability issues have been difficult. Have you looked at functionalizing the particle surface with transferrin receptors?" Naomi asked. "There's some interesting research out of Stanford suggesting that approach improves brain penetration significantly." Justin's eyes lit up. "We tried that in early prototypes, but we were using the wrong polymer base. If we revisited with your suggestion..." He pulled out his phone, making a note. "This is exactly why I wanted to talk to you again. You see connections I miss." They talked shop for another 30 minutes before Justin deliberately set down his teacup and changed the subject. "So, I'm going to be honest. Lauren may have mentioned you recently went through a difficult divorce. You absolutely don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I figured I should acknowledge that I know, so you don't feel like you're hiding anything." Naomi appreciated the directness. "It was difficult. My ex-husband cheated on me for years and stole money from our joint accounts. The divorce was finalized 6 months ago. He's currently serving time for fraud." Justin's expression showed appropriate sympathy without pity. "That sounds incredibly painful. I'm sorry you went through that." "Thank you. It was painful. But it's over now and I'm trying to move forward." Naomi took a sip of her tea. "What about you? Lauren mentioned you're single, but I assume there's a story there too." "Fairly boring story actually. I was engaged 3 years ago. We broke up 8 months before the wedding because we realized we wanted fundamentally different things. She wanted to move to Seattle and work for a big tech company. I wanted to stay here and build my biotech startup. Neither of us wanted to compromise, so we ended it. Painful at the time, but clearly the right decision." "Do you regret it?" "Not at all. She's happy in Seattle now, engaged to someone who fits her life better. I'm happy here building the company. Sometimes relationships don't work out, and that's okay." He paused. "I'm not looking to rush into anything serious. I'm just interested in getting to know interesting people and seeing where things go naturally." The honesty was refreshing. No games, no pressure, just 2 adults acknowledging they were interested in exploring a connection without predetermined outcomes. They talked for another hour about non-work topics. Favorite books, travel experiences, family. Justin had 2 younger sisters he was close with and parents who were recently retired and traveling extensively. He asked thoughtful questions about Naomi's work-life balance and how she managed the stress of clinical trials. Honestly, Naomi said, I don't manage it well. Work has been my refuge since the divorce. It's the one thing that makes sense that I can control. Personal relationships feel messy and unpredictable. That's understandable given what you went through. But work can't be everything forever. Eventually you'll want a personal life too. He smiled. Not saying I should be that personal life. Just observation from someone who also tends to hide in work when things get complicated. When they finally left the coffee shop at 5:30, having talked for over 2 hours, Justin walked Naomi to her car. I really enjoyed this, he said. Would you want to do it again? Maybe dinner next time? Naomi felt the familiar panic start to rise but pushed it down. Yes, I'd like that. Great. I'll text you some options. He hesitated, then added, and just so you know, no pressure or expectations. We're just getting to know each other. Whatever pace feels comfortable for you is fine with me. The lack of pressure made it easier to say yes. Over the following weeks, Naomi saw Justin 3 more times. Dinner at a Thai restaurant where they debated the merits of different research methodologies. A Saturday morning hike where they talked about everything except science. A museum visit to see a special exhibition on medical history that turned into 4 hours of discussion about how far cancer treatment had evolved. He never pushed for more than she was ready to give. There was no pressure to define the relationship, no demands for her time beyond what she willingly offered. It was comfortable in a way Naomi hadn't expected relationships could be. Meanwhile, her professional life continued its upward trajectory. The pharmaceutical company finalized the licensing deal for her treatment protocol. The first royalty payment hit her account, $150,000, with more to come as the treatment moved through remaining trial phases. Her bank account now held more money than she'd ever imagined having. The financial security felt surreal after Trevor had stolen so much. One evening, as she was reviewing the updated financial statements, her phone rang. Unknown number, but this time she answered. Naomi? It's Monica. Trevor's sister, sounding upset. I'm sorry to bother you, but I thought you should know, Trevor's having a really hard time in prison. He's been hospitalized twice for mental health issues. The family is worried he might hurt himself. Naomi felt a complicated mix of emotions. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm not sure why you're telling me. He keeps asking about you. Whether you're happy, whether you've moved on, whether you ever think about him. He's obsessed with the idea that if he'd just been honest from the beginning, you'd have forgiven him. Monica paused. I'm not asking you to contact him. I just thought you should know he's struggling. Monica, I appreciate you caring enough to tell me, but Trevor's mental health isn't my responsibility. He made choices that had consequences. I can't be the person who fixes that for him. I know, you're right. Monica sighed. Never mind. I shouldn't have called. I'm sorry. After hanging up, Naomi sat with the uncomfortable feeling that came from knowing someone was suffering because of their connection to her. But Andrea's words echoed in her mind, don't let anyone make you feel guilty for the natural results of his actions. Trevor had destroyed their marriage through years of systematic lying and theft. The fact that facing consequences was difficult for him didn't change what he'd done or make her responsible for his healing. She called Andrea and recounted the conversation. Block his sister's number, Andrea advised. She means well, but she's trying to make you feel responsible for Trevor's emotional state. You're not. He needs professional help, not contact with the ex-wife he betrayed. I feel bad though. Is that wrong? No, it's human. You spent 9 years with him. You don't suddenly stop caring about someone just because they hurt you. But caring from a distance and letting him face his consequences is not the same as being responsible for fixing him. Those are very different things. The next day, Naomi met Justin for lunch near his office. She must have looked stressed because he immediately noticed. Everything okay? She explained about Monica's call and her conflicted feelings. Justin listened thoughtfully. Do you want to help him? He asked. If there were no consequences or complications, would you actually want to reach out to your ex-husband? Naomi thought about it honestly. No, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want him in my life in any capacity. I just feel guilty about not wanting to help. Then don't help. Guilt isn't a reason to do something that would be bad for you. Justin took a bite of his sandwich. Look, I don't know your ex or the full situation. But from what you've told me, he systematically betrayed you for years. The fact that facing consequences is hard doesn't mean you owe him comfort or support. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for everyone, including him, is to maintain boundaries and let him work through his own stuff. The permission to not help felt like relief. That weekend, Naomi made a decision. She called a real estate agent and listed her house for sale. Andrea was surprised when she heard. "You're selling? But you just finished redecorating everything." "I know. But it's still the house I shared with Trevor. I picked it out with him, lived there with him, discovered his betrayal there. Too many bad memories." Naomi looked around the living room she'd repainted 3 times trying to make it feel different. "I want a completely fresh start. New house, new space, new memories." The house sold within 2 weeks to a young couple expecting their first child. Naomi felt good about that, new life literally and figuratively in a space that had held so much deception. She bought a smaller townhouse in a different neighborhood, modern and bright with large windows and an open floor plan. No memories of Trevor anywhere in the space. She furnished it with new furniture, hung art she chose herself, created a home office with a view of the garden. For the first time since the divorce, her living space felt genuinely hers. Justin helped her move boxes on the final day, along with Lauren and a few other friends from her social circle that had been slowly expanding. They ordered pizza, laughed at her inability to find anything in the chaos of boxes, and stayed until everything was at least unpacked enough to be functional. After everyone left, Naomi stood in her new living room and felt something she hadn't felt in almost a year: peace. This house had no history with Trevor. These friends knew her as she was now, not as the wife who'd been cheated on. This life she was building was genuinely, completely new. Her phone buzzed. Text from Justin: "New house looks great. You settling in okay?" She smiled and typed back, "Getting there. Thanks again for the help today. Anytime. Dinner tomorrow if you're not too exhausted from unpacking?" "Sounds good." They'd been seeing each other for 2 months now. Nothing official, no labels, just 2 people enjoying each other's company and seeing where things went. It wasn't the passionate whirlwind romance movies portrayed, but it was steady and genuine and comfortable. Maybe that was better. Maybe comfortable was what real relationships were supposed to feel like instead of the dramatic ups and downs she'd mistaken for love with Trevor. The following week, Dr. Patterson scheduled a meeting to discuss the next phase of her research. Phase 2 trials had completed successfully, and Phase 3 was being fast-tracked due to the exceptional results. "If Phase 3 shows similar outcomes," he explained, "you're looking at FDA approval within 18 months. This treatment could be widely available within 2 years. You've done something genuinely remarkable here." "We've done something remarkable," Naomi corrected. "This was a team effort." "True, but you were the driving force. The patent is primarily in your name for good reason." He pulled up a financial projection. "Once this treatment is approved and widely adopted, the royalty structure suggests you'll earn between $2 and $4 million annually. For the rest of your life." The number was staggering. Financial security beyond anything she'd dreamed of when she started her research 7 years ago. "You should be very proud," Dr. Patterson continued. "Most researchers never see their work make this kind of impact. You're saving lives and revolutionizing cancer treatment. That's an extraordinary legacy." After the meeting, Naomi sat in her car in the parking lot, letting the reality sink in. She'd accomplished what she set out to do. Her career was everything she'd worked toward. Her research was successful beyond expectations. The betrayal and theft Trevor had committed became even more bitter in context. He tried to steal the fruits of her dedication, to claim ownership of work he'd actively undermined. He'd planned to use her achievements to fund a life with his mistress. Instead, Naomi had all of it. The success, the money, the recognition. And Trevor had prison, destroyed reputation, and the knowledge that he'd thrown away everything for a relationship that hadn't even lasted through his legal troubles. That evening, Naomi cooked dinner in her new kitchen, something she hadn't done regularly in months. She made pasta with fresh vegetables, opened a nice bottle of wine, and ate at her new dining table while reading a novel that had nothing to do with cancer research. It was such a normal, peaceful evening. No stress, no legal battles, no betrayal hanging over everything. Just a quiet evening in a home she'd bought with money she'd earned through honest work. This was what moving forward actually looked like. Not dramatic or exciting, just steady progress toward a life that felt genuinely satisfying. Her phone rang. "Justin. Hey, random question. My company is hosting a fundraiser gala next month for cancer research organizations. It's a pretty formal event, lots of medical professionals and researchers. Want to be my date?" Naomi hesitated. A formal gala felt like a big step, publicly appearing together, being introduced as a couple to his professional colleagues. But she thought about her conversation with Andrea months ago about being open to possibilities. "Yes," she said. "I'd like that." "Great. It's black tie if that matters for planning. And fair warning, there will probably be people there who know about your research. You might get cornered into talking shop. I can handle that, Naomi said, smiling. I'm good at talking shop. After they hung up, she looked around her new townhouse, at the life she was actively building instead of just existing in. She thought about the clinical trials saving lives, about Justin who respected her work and didn't pressure her for more than she could give, about the friends she was reconnecting with, about the financial security that meant she'd never have to worry about someone stealing from her again. Trevor had tried to destroy her. Instead, he destroyed himself. Naomi had done more than survive his betrayal. She'd systematically rebuilt her life into something stronger and more authentic than what she'd had before. The best revenge, she was learning, wasn't causing him to suffer. It was simply living well, achieving her goals, and being genuinely happy without him in any capacity. That was the victory that actually mattered. 1 year after discovering Trevor's affair, Naomi stood backstage at the Philadelphia Convention Center, adjusting the fitted emerald gown she'd bought specifically for this occasion. The annual Medical Research Achievement Awards were being held tonight, and she was receiving the prestigious Breakthrough Innovator Award for her cancer treatment protocol. In the audience somewhere were Dr. Patterson and several colleagues from the institute. Her parents had flown in from Ohio. Andrea was there with her husband. Lauren and several other friends were seated together. And Justin was in the fourth row, having insisted on attending despite his company's competing event the same evening. 5 minutes, Dr. Richardson, the stage manager said. Naomi took a deep breath and looked at herself in the mirror. She barely recognized the woman staring back. Not because she'd changed physically, though she was healthier now, sleeping better, eating regularly, taking time for herself. But because the woman in the mirror radiated a confidence and peace that had been missing a year ago. The MC's voice carried from the main hall. Our final award tonight recognizes an individual whose groundbreaking research has the potential to save millions of lives. Her innovative approach to targeting resistant cancer cells has revolutionized oncology treatment protocols. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Naomi Richardson. The applause began as Naomi walked onto the stage, the bright lights momentarily blinding. As her eyes adjusted, she saw the sea of faces, hundreds of medical professionals, researchers, and industry leaders, all standing and applauding her work. She reached the podium, accepted the Crystal Award from the MC, and waited for the applause to quiet before beginning her acceptance speech. Thank you. This honor is overwhelming and humbling. When I started this research 7 years ago, I couldn't have imagined standing here today. The path to breakthrough discoveries is never straight or easy. It requires dedication, patience, countless failures, and unwavering belief in the possibility of success even when results seem impossible. She paused, looking out at the audience. This past year has taught me that the same principles apply to life beyond research. Sometimes the path forward requires us to be patient with ourselves, to believe in possibilities even when current circumstances seem overwhelming, and to trust that persistence through difficulty leads to genuine transformation. Naomi spoke for 10 minutes about her research, the clinical trial results, and the collaborative team that had made everything possible. She thanked her colleagues, her mentors, the patients who'd participated in trials. But she also spoke about something deeper, about how setbacks and betrayals don't have to define us, about how we choose whether difficult experiences destroy us or refine us into something stronger. I want every researcher in this room to know that your work matters, even in moments when it feels impossible. Keep pushing forward. The breakthroughs are worth every struggle. She held up the Crystal Award. This represents not just my research success, but the triumph of persistence over doubt, of determination over adversity, of choosing to move forward even when the path is unclear. Thank you. The applause was deafening. Naomi walked off the stage, her heart pounding, adrenaline surging through her system. She'd done it. She'd stood in front of the medical research community and accepted recognition for work that would genuinely save lives. Backstage, she was immediately surrounded by well-wishers and colleagues wanting to congratulate her. Dr. Patterson hugged her, uncharacteristically emotional. I'm so proud of you, Naomi. This is just the beginning. Your career is going to be extraordinary. After the ceremony, the attendees moved to an adjoining ballroom for a reception. Naomi found herself at the center of multiple conversations, researchers asking about her methodology, pharmaceutical executives discussing licensing opportunities, medical journals requesting interviews. Justin appeared at her elbow with a glass of champagne. You're officially famous now. How does it feel? Surreal, Naomi admitted. A year ago, I was standing in a hospital hallway learning my husband had been cheating on me. Now I'm here accepting a major award. Life moves fast. Life moves in the direction you point it, Justin corrected gently. You could have let the divorce destroy you. Instead, you used your work as fuel to become even more successful. That's not luck or chance, that's intentional choice. He was right. Every decision she'd made over the past year had been deliberate. Hiring Andrea, gathering evidence, protecting her assets, refusing to reconcile, selling the house, building new friendships, slowly opening herself to the possibility of a relationship again. Dance with me? Justin asked, gesturing toward the dance floor where several couples were already swaying to the live band's music. They moved onto the floor together, and Naomi let herself relax into the moment. Justin was a good dancer, confident but not showy, leading clearly without being controlling. It struck her how different this felt from dancing with Trevor at their wedding, where she'd been so blissfully unaware of what the future held. Now she knew what betrayal looked like, what resilience required, what genuine partnership could be. That knowledge made her appreciate this moment. Dancing at an event celebrating her achievements with someone who respected her work and didn't need her to be anything other than herself. What are you thinking about? Justin asked. How different my life is now compared to a year ago. Better, different. Better is good. You deserve better. He smiled. Speaking of which, I have something to tell you. My company just finalized our funding round. We're expanding significantly, which means I'll be hiring several new research scientists. I'd love to collaborate more formally on projects that complement your cancer treatment work. Interested in discussing that possibility? Very interested, Naomi said. The idea of combining her clinical research with his drug delivery technology was exciting professionally. And the fact that it would mean working more closely with Justin was exciting personally, though she was still careful about mixing professional and personal relationships. The evening continued with conversations, networking, and celebration. Around 10 p.m., Naomi's parents found her at the edge of the ballroom. We're heading back to the hotel, her mother said, hugging her tightly. But we wanted to say again how proud we are. Not just of the award but of how you've handled everything this year. You're stronger than I gave you credit for. It was the closest her mother would come to apologizing for initially suggesting Naomi consider reconciliation with Trevor. Naomi accepted it gracefully. Thanks, Mom. I couldn't have gotten through it without support from people who believed in me. After her parents left, Naomi found Andrea standing near the bar looking pleased. You were amazing tonight, Andrea said. That speech was perfect, professional but personal, acknowledging the difficulty without dwelling on it. I had a good teacher in managing difficult situations, Naomi said, squeezing her friend's hand. I literally couldn't have survived this year without you. That's what friends are for. And speaking of which, Andrea glanced toward where Justin was chatting with some of Naomi's colleagues. He's good for you. I see you smiling more when you're with him. It's early still. We're taking things slow. Slow is fine. Just don't let fear keep you from being happy. Trevor doesn't get to ruin relationships for you forever. As the reception wound down around 11 p.m., Justin offered to drive Naomi home. They talked easily during the drive, processing the evening's highlights and discussing the potential research collaboration between their organizations. When he pulled up in front of her townhouse, he turned to her with a serious expression. I want to say something and you can tell me if it's too much or if I should back off. But I think you should hear it. He paused. I know you're still healing from what your ex did. I know you're cautious about relationships and I understand why. But I want you to know that I see you, not just the brilliant researcher but the whole person. The one who's funny and caring and sometimes scared but incredibly brave. And I'm not going anywhere. Whatever pace you need, however long it takes for you to fully trust again, I'm here. Naomi felt tears prick her eyes. That's the kindest thing anyone said to me in a long time. It's not kindness. It's just the truth. Justin reached over and took her hand. You deserve someone who's willing to be patient, who appreciates what you've been through, and who values everything you are. I want to be that person if you'll let me try. This was a pivotal moment, Naomi recognized. She could retreat into safe distance, thank him politely and keep everything casual. Or she could take a risk, be vulnerable again, and trust that not every relationship would end in betrayal. I'd like that, she said quietly. I'm not perfect at this. I'll probably be guarded sometimes and overthink everything. But I want to try. Good. Because I'm not perfect either. He smiled. We'll figure it out together. He walked her to her door, kissed her goodnight gentle and respectful, and left with a promise to call tomorrow. Inside her townhouse, Naomi kicked off her heels and walked through the quiet space. The award sat on her kitchen counter, catching the light from the street lamp outside. She picked it up, feeling the weight of it, the coolness of the crystal. This award represented 7 years of dedication to her research. But in a deeper way, it represented proof that she could accomplish extraordinary things through focus and determination. That same focus and determination had carried her through the worst year of her life and brought her out the other side stronger. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Congratulations on your award. Saw the announcement. You deserve every good thing. Monica." Trevor's sister, still maintaining occasional contact despite Naomi's boundaries. She almost deleted it, then decided to respond one final time. "Thank you. I hope you and your family are well." Short, polite final. Another text arrived. "Trevor wanted me to tell you he's proud of you and sorry for everything. He's being released in 2 months and is trying to rebuild his life. He hopes you can find peace." Naomi stared at the message for a long moment. Trevor would be out of prison soon, back in the world, trying to rebuild what he'd destroyed. That was his journey, not hers. She typed, "I found peace by moving forward without him in my life. I wish him well, but please don't contact me again with messages from him. That chapter is closed." She blocked Monica's number and set down her phone. Trevor's release from prison didn't matter to her life anymore. What he did, where he went, whether he successfully rebuilt, none of it had any impact on her future. That connection was completely severed. Naomi changed out of her gown into comfortable clothes and made herself tea. She sat on her couch with her research notes spread around her, reviewing the latest Phase 3 trial data. The results continued to exceed expectations. Within 6 months, her treatment would likely receive full FDA approval. Hundreds of thousands of cancer patients would eventually be treated with her protocol. Lives saved, families kept together, futures preserved, all because she dedicated years to solving an impossible problem. Trevor had wanted to take credit for this, to claim ownership of work he'd never contributed to. Instead, he'd lost everything while she achieved everything she'd worked for. The best revenge wasn't causing him to suffer. It was simply living well, accomplishing goals, building genuine happiness and never looking back. As Naomi reviewed her research data, she thought about the journey that had brought her here. The devastating phone call a year ago that had shattered her marriage. The methodical gathering of evidence. The legal battles and the divorce. The struggle to rebuild her life and trust again. The small steps toward new relationships and genuine happiness. Every difficult moment had been necessary to get to this point, sitting in her own home, financially secure, professionally celebrated, personally healing, and genuinely excited about the future for the first time in years. She'd spent 7 years learning how to systematically defeat cancer cells through careful research and strategic persistence. She'd spent 1 year applying those same principles to rebuilding her life after betrayal. Both projects had been successful beyond expectations. Naomi set aside her research notes and opened her laptop. She began drafting an email to Justin about the potential research collaboration he'd mentioned. As she typed, she felt something she'd been afraid to acknowledge for months. Genuine excitement about the future. Not just the professional future, though that was extraordinary, but the personal future, the possibility of building something real with someone who valued her for exactly who she was. Trevor had tried to define her as someone too focused on work to notice being cheated on, too career-obsessed to deserve a genuine relationship. He'd used that narrative to justify his betrayal and theft. But the truth was simpler. Naomi had been dedicated to work that genuinely mattered, while Trevor had been dedicated to nothing but his own selfish desires. Her focus had resulted in breakthrough cancer treatment. His focus had resulted in prison and destroyed relationships. The comparison spoke for itself. As midnight approached, Naomi saved her email draft and shut down her laptop. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, more clinical trial data to review, more conversations with pharmaceutical companies, more media requests about her award. But tonight, she just wanted to sit in the peaceful quiet of her home and appreciate how far she'd come. A year ago, she'd been devastated, betrayed, struggling to understand how her entire marriage had been built on lies. Now she was celebrated, secure, and slowly building a life that felt genuinely authentic and satisfying. That transformation hadn't happened by accident. It had required deliberate choice at every step, to protect herself legally, to refuse reconciliation despite pressure, to rebuild rather than remain broken, to slowly open herself to new possibilities while maintaining appropriate boundaries. Naomi looked at the award on her counter one more time before heading upstairs to bed. That crystal trophy represented more than research success. It represented proof that she could face devastating betrayal, systematically dismantle the life she thought she had, and rebuild something even better from the pieces. Trevor had underestimated her completely. He'd assumed she'd be too devastated to fight back, too focused on work to notice his schemes, too trusting to protect herself. He'd been wrong on every count. And now, a year after the worst day of her life had begun with a cruel phone call, Naomi stood at the beginning of the best chapter of her life, celebrated professionally, healing personally, and genuinely happy in a way she'd never been in her marriage. The revenge she'd initially wanted had transformed into something much more valuable. A life so successful and fulfilling that Trevor became completely irrelevant to it. That was the victory that actually mattered. Not his suffering, but her thriving. As she finally drifted off to sleep that night, Naomi's last thought was simple: she'd won. Not just in the legal battles or the professional achievements, but in the most important way. She'd reclaimed her life, her future, and her capacity for happiness.